We'll be live. Hi, shalom, 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 shalom. Hi everyone. Hi,
Hello.
Susie. Hello, hello. Guys, have you liked the stream? If not, what the hell's wrong with you? Like the stream right now. You know this show is worth liking, so make sure you do it right now. And also, let us know in the chat that you have liked the stream. Look at this. People are saying hi. Hi, D. D is here. Okay, guys, people are liking. Oh, we have two. Oh, we already have members. Atheist Damien became a member, and Morten. I don't know what that last name is, but I'm not going to try.
Nettertoff.
Okay, Nethertop. That's badass last name. Anyway, Susie, hi. We missed you.
Hello. You missed me? I was here
Hello.
last week. During the week,
Well,
you
it's
missed
been
me?
a Yes, during the week we missed you.
Oh, that's
Guys, did
sweet.
we not miss Susie? We missed Susie. Oh, Mars is here. Hello. Okay, guys, if you're not familiar with our weekly shows with Susie and Dee and the rest of the team, they go pick 5 important stories that we think that we should be discussing here on Atheist Republic with you guys, and we bring it here and we give our opinions about it, and we watch your opinions in the live chat as well. And I will highlight your opinions. We will star them. We will discuss your opinions. So make sure that you fill the live chat with your opinions. Okay. So it's hard because I have to listen to Susie and I have to look at your opinions. I'll try to do my, and I'm not somebody that could multi-function, but I try to do my best. Sometimes I piss off Susie because she's saying something important, and I'm literally looking at your comments and I miss what she's saying. And sometimes I piss you guys off because I'm listening to Susie and there's an important comment or a question that doesn't get highlighted or starred for me to read. So again, this is a very hard balancing. But anyways, I'm getting Susie. What are the stories that we're covering today? What countries are the stories like funny, tragic, ridiculous? What countries? What type of stories? What religions?
We're going heavy into the ridiculous and the absurd, I would say, like just give me a break kind of territory. Um mostly Islam related, but then we're also dealing with some ultra-Orthodox Judaism today, which is
Oh,
very
okay,
interesting.
okay,
And I'm excited because I
okay.
want to hear the opinions of our Israeli community
Israeli.
members.
See, this is guys. Don't tell us that we don't go after every religion. Now we have like some ridiculous religious Judaism stuff today as well. But 4 of them is Islam, right?
Yeah.
Islam is okay. So 4 out of the 5 is Islam. 1 is Judaism. Okay, cool. And which countries we're doing?
The
The
UK,
UK,
Germany, Israel, the
Israel.
United States, and Pakistan.
Good news from Pakistan. I'm assuming, right? Something good this time? Maybe no.
No, it's
Uh,
ridiculous. I mean, nothing
okay,
has
it's
happened
ridiculous.
yet to my knowledge. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
And for our Pakistan news, our last news, I need Mufti Armin's opinion.
Okay, sounds good. We have had some. Have we ever had good news from Pakistan, or has every everything that we have had
I
from
think
Pakistan has been
so.
either
There was
ridiculous or tragic?
this story we covered a few years ago where a bunch of students in Pakistan were celebrating Holi, which I thought was really
Mhm.
awesome.
Okay.
And we're like really cool. Should be celebrated. And then they got a bunch of crap for it.
Okay.
So
All right. That's as good as it gets, I guess. Let's hope for a world where we get to Atheist Republic has some good stories from Pakistan one day, right? This is our goal. This is where we are trying to get the world to, right? Anyways, we should get into the first news. Unless you want to say
wait,
something.
this
What?
comment is so funny. Susie is a good balance for you. You get less in her rage when she's there. You should do more tests together.
Hey, you like my rage? You guys like
No,
my
people
rage? I don't know.
like the rage. To be
Yeah,
honest, I think
because
Armin tempers it when I'm around when he maybe shouldn't. You know, let it flow through you.
By the way, Susie rages. We have a whole segment called Susie Rants where she
Mhm.
rages, and you guys love it. How come you love Susie's rage and you don't like my rage? This is some anti. Iranian discrimination.
Oh, anti-Armin discrimination.
I wanted to see what should I go with. I said, should I go anti-male, anti-Canadian? It's anti-Canadian discrimination. I'm gonna go with that.
Anti-Canadian bigotry.
That's what it is. That's what
Wow.
Yes.
Hey, I
Oh,
mean,
there
ever
we
since
go.
this whole thing happened with Tenet Media and Lauren Chen, I've been looking at y'all up north differently. Okay? I'm a little distrustful.
Yeah.
Y'all be
I'm
sending
actually-
people on student visas over here to commit terrorist acts on my country, so I'm a little bit worried. Okay.
I don't believe you because you didn't have a good view over Canada even before that. So
No, that's not true. I'm just joking.
Anyways,
It's like a silly
all right.
my promoting of xenophobia towards Canadians, because I am promoting xenophobia towards Canadians.
Hey,
I'm just kidding.
burn the White House again.
It's jokes. It's like a sibling rivalry. You know, the older brother picking the little brother.
Okay. All right.
Anyways,
we should get to the news. Is it clappable? It seems like it's clappable.
yeah, yeah. I guess. I mean, the dude got
Okay.
arrested, so
The dude got arrested. We're clapping for the arrest. Okay. Anyways, first news.
First news, a UK cop arrested over support for Hamas. In a shocking turn of events, a British police officer was arrested on November 12th in Gloucester for allegedly supporting Hamas, a group designated as a terrorist organization by the UK since 2021. By the way, I'm kind of shocked that they've only been designated since 2021. Anyways, the arrest, which followed a probe into the officer's online activities, has sent ripples of concern through the community. Quote, the arrest of a serving officer on suspicion of such a serious offense will no doubt cause our community's concern, said Assistant Chief Constable Armin Matheson, emphasizing the gravity of the investigation. With 2 properties and a vehicle searched for digital evidence, this incident underscores the mounting tensions in the UK following Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel. British officials, including former Home Secretary Suella Braverman, have doubled down on the need for accountability, warning that glorifying terrorist actions could lead to severe consequences. And as I was looking through this news, I realized that this is actually not the first incident of a British police officer getting arrested for supporting Hamas. There was another incident that happened earlier this year that I was not aware of until I was doing research for this. And I was kind of shocked because the evidence against him was so strong and his sentence was pretty light, if you ask me. So
what did he get?
So let's go through the incident that happened earlier this year. Okay, so not this most recent one, because for the most recent one, there isn't a ton of information out about what he did that supported Hamas or what is the evidence against him, right? But for the earlier one, we have more evidence. So Mohammed Adil, a 26-year-old who served as a West Yorkshire police officer in the UK, was sentenced on Tuesday. So this was back in June 5th, this was reported, for sharing messages of support for Hamas. He pled guilty to 2 charges of publishing an image as to arouse reasonable suspicion that he is a supporter of a prescribed organization. So what did he post? Adil shared the pro-Hamas WhatsApp messages during October and November of 2023. One message featured former Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein and rockets being launched with the text caption, quote, rockets to Israel. Another message featured a video describing purifying the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem from the abomination of the Jews and the aggressive Zionists, according to English subtitles of the video. Then another post featured a man stating in Arabic, until Muslims fight the Jews, Muslims who are people of the creed, people of faith will kill them, according to another subtitled translation of the video obtained by Sky News. So those are pretty serious, wild things to say, let alone as a police officer. There was also some reporting about how this guy was posting, you know how like on WhatsApp, how you can kind of have your like daily updates and you can kind of post like stories almost of images. So apparently on some of those stories, for lack of a better term, or those updates, he was posting images of that Hamas spokesperson guy, the one that always has the red keffiyeh covering his entire face. Muhammad Obaid, is that his name? And so there was other evidence as well. And what kind of drove me crazy was that he was sentenced to, I think, let me find the exact amount. Was it 18 months? An 18-month long community service order. That was his punishment. And he was facing jail time. But you know why he got out of jail? Because he said that he wanted to complete a PhD, and the judge said, "Oh, you have already lost your employment as a police officer, and if you want to go do a PhD, some establishments won't allow you if there has been a custodial sentence. I accept there's proper prospect for rehabilitation. Immediate custody would have a significant impact on the support you give to your mother and sister." So basically, they're like, "Oh, well, you want to go get a doctorate, and so you just have to go do community service, because if you have a record of going to prison, then you're not going to be able to go to jail. I mean, get a job just on the basis of you saying right now that you're going to go pursue a PhD." And
wait, so in the UK, I can get like lesser sentences if I communicate my dreams and aspirations to the judge, and because the judge is like, "Oh, you have dreams, and this prison sentence could harm those dreams, so let's not give you a prison sentence." So is that how I get out of wait, does that work? So I could
am
just
I out of my mind, or is that like totally unreasonable?
No, that's unreasonable. I mean, like jail sentences usually fuck up your dreams. That's how it works with everyone else. So maybe you should just not have jail sentences at all. Just remove them as a whole because
Like,
it fucks up everyone.
this is a police officer who is posting about, until Muslims fight the Jews, Muslims, the people of the creed of faith, will kill them. Excuse me? Like, yeah, exactly. So should Tommy Robinson go pursue a PhD?
Hey, Tommy, yes, Tommy,
we
we
got
found
a
a way. We got a plan to get you out of jail. Go tell the judges that you want to get a PhD. Guys, somebody send this to Tommy. Somebody send this to Tommy. Tell him that go get a PhD.
Dude, and considering, and then who is this? I don't know how to pronounce this, but they raise a good point where they're saying 18 months. Remember that they never serve full sentences, always have. Well, I mean, it's community service. So I don't know if you get half off community service or how normal that is, because I know the UK jails are like overrun right now and they're releasing people because they want to. This is what's crazy to me, Armin, is that we're seeing people thrown into jail, like actually into jail in the UK for speech,
for liking Facebook posts, for liking.
And it's not nearly as bad as what this guy was posting and openly promoting himself. It might be offensive to some people, but it's not saying, we have to go kill the Jews. YouTube, we already probably nuked the algorithm on this episode, guys. So please this.
Tell you.
Please like this episode. And YouTube, we are reporting on the statements of other people. These are not our views ourselves, obviously. Just always bears repeating. Everyone, please pray to the algorithm gods. We're going to get demonetized. But Yeah, this is in one of those systems where I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty insane two-tier system there. This is guys, please call me out if I'm being unreasonable here. Is this not like proof positive of this whole issue we've been talking about of the two-tier system? That's crazy to me. Yeah, I don't, and again, people in different countries handle things differently. As an American, we tend to be very punitive with our criminal justice. So in an instance like this, my instinct is like, nah, freaking throw them under the jail. And I don't know how reasonable I'm being. Like, there was this lady in Bakersfield that made terroristic threats towards city council members and in California, and she was facing like almost 24 charges because of it. And I actually got into an argument with my boyfriend about it yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, I mean, should we really send her for jail?" That kind of thing. I'm like, she's making terroristic threats to take the lives of city and public officials. Like, yes, for the sake of Palestine. Like, this, I don't know. I think because I've been studying, at least within the US, how the the logical conclusion of the anti-Israel domestic movement in this country is domestic terrorism. I just take that so seriously, and I want an example to be made out of people like that woman. And so I have an extremely like knee-jerk punitive reaction to that, and maybe I'm off base. I don't know. Armin, what do you think?
Okay, so I have a question. Do you think if this guy was just saying, so obviously if you support Hamas, you should lose your job. You should never be able to be a police ever again. Okay?
Oh my God.
That is not against your free speech. Okay? Because free speech doesn't mean that you're entitled to every freaking job while you have these shitty views. No. However, if this person just supported Hamas, just said like, hey, I like Hamas, I support what they do. If we say, well, then they should, in the UK, if we support such a person going to jail, and somebody says like, oh, I thought you guys believe in free speech, right? So how do you respond to that?
I mean, I think what's getting under my skin right now is the hypocrisy and the inconsistency. So because I'm not in favor of people going to jail for speech, but I'm seeing it already happen with things that I think are significantly less severe than saying I support Hamas out loud and promoting that. I'm just asking for consistency.
Yes.
I actually don't like the standards of what's happening right now, but because these standards are in place and I'm seeing such a discrepancy between treatment over things that are so much more severe and serious, it just makes my head spin. I don't know if it sounds like I'm making excuses for things, but that's just
no. That's how I feel. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. No, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. When Tommy goes to jail for far less, and this guy who's supporting terrorism, and to be fair, he's doing more than supporting Hamas, because he's actually also supporting directly, like he's supporting killing Jews, right? So direct threats of harm. That's why I made another scenario. Imagine if he only supported Hamas, but he didn't like had that direct support for threats of harm, directly threatening Jews to harm them and kill them, right? But even then, even if he just said that, in a country where Tommy goes to jail for far less, and this police officer avoids jail, I mean, how much more evidence do you need for a two-tier system? It's like, it's obvious. It's obvious. And it's such a shame, because the UK is supposed to be an example for fairness and liberal laws. And now you have one of the greatest violations of liberal values is to have two tiers, two sets of laws for two groups of. I mean, this is. I don't. This is what Israel gets accused of having, and Israel doesn't have that. Israel doesn't have a two-tier system for when it comes to laws for different groups of people, but apparently the UK does. This is dividing the country based on, different laws applies to people who are considered to be one type of citizen, but to other. I mean, it's funny because we constantly hear about discrimination against Muslims, but this is actually the opposite. This is the opposite in the UK. Yeah, it's a privilege. Like a Muslim guy apparently doesn't go to jail by a white man for much less of a crime, so-called crime, goes to jail. Like this is a Muslim. I don't know. Is it Muslim privilege, or is it anti-white man, or is it a combination of both? But this is two-tier, and this is anti-liberal.
Or is it just appeasement?
Well,
it might not even be framed in terms of discrimination against one group so much as it is appeasement of another.
But how long could this last? Like, are the UK, is this going to, like, one hope that we have for democracy is that at some point people people in the UK going to say that fuck this shit, like we had enough? Like, is there going to be a reaction to this? Like, are the people in the UK? I mean, the levels of freedom, the level of government intervention, the level of like freedoms being taken away in the UK is insane.
The level of millionaires fleeing the country, taking their wealth outside the country. It's actually crazy when you look at those numbers.
So are we going to see the people in the UK? Like, is there going to be, like, it's funny because we had Brexit because a lot of people in the UK thought that Europe was going in the wrong direction. But now that UK was separated from the EU, the people in the UK are not reacting to all of this, but people in Europe are. Like, you could see a lot of corrections being made happening in other European countries. I mean, maybe too late. Some of them are too little, too late. But at least you see a reaction from the people in rest of the European countries, and there's some course correction there. But in the UK, things, you don't see that money. I mean, Tommy was leading some protests and he's now in jail, but you can see in Germany, in France, in so many other places, Europeans are like, yeah, fuck this shit. Like, you guys need to change your policies. I mean, I don't agree with some of the policies that the parties that are coming in place. I don't like some of their policies, but at least you could see that the politicians are being held accountable. There's a change. I don't know. I mean, this is just going to expedite the U.S. supremacy over the world. Like, you know what? It's fine. You guys could. It's just going to get us closer to. U.S. is taking better positions, I think, globally, and all these countries who are taking wrong positions, they're just going to slow. It's just going to slow their progress down, and it's just going to keep U.S. In charge of the world for longer. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing because they are the ones who are supporting Israel. They are the ones who are pushing back the hardest against the greatest illiberal countries. I mean, not as much as maybe we want, but stronger than other countries. So so you guys are just going to fall behind. Like, this is a tragedy, but at least the country that is taking the best positions is going to maintain its supremacy for longer. And maybe that's what we need for maintaining the world liberal order. Yeah.
I'm fighting the internal urge to just US. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. I don't know. I think, the UK is beginning to have a reckoning on these kinds of things. And I would love to hear what people from our community in the UK have to say about this. I think the riots that happened after the Southport murders was the beginning of that reckoning. The reactions that were had after the murders, and now we're seeing more information coming out over the murders. People are accusing government officials of a cover-up, and Stammer's government of a cover-up. And I don't know what to believe and what more information could come out. But I think there is the beginning of a reckoning happening, and Stammer's government has done his best to criminalize and quash that reckoning. I mean, so let me be clear. People in those riots did commit criminal acts. I'm not questioning that. Many people committed criminal acts. But there's also plenty of other people being prosecuted for speech crimes, thought crimes. Like it's crazy.
The problem is that the people who are doing the reckoning, they're bringing in people who are just want more government intervention from the other side. You know, like, so we have the conservative left now growing in Europe. So we have people who might have better policies over migration, but there's still people who want to come in. Like, it's not going to get Europe out of this welfare mindset.
Yeah.
Like everything. Yeah. So even the people who are coming in, I mean, so the people who are upset and maybe are protesting, they have better migration policies, but they love Russia. Okay. I mean, Putin, right? They are protectionists, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're still interested in the government controlling the economy and fixing everything rather than letting the market take care of things. So again, all of this it's just going to slow things down, and Europe is sick. Europe is sick, and none of this is going to fix it. Unless they become more like America when it comes to their economy and their entrepreneurial mindset, and lack of government intervention, not just in their personal lives but also in their business. I mean, the European mindset cannot even comprehend that for most of them anymore. Like they don't even ask for that. Like when they see things are bad, instead of saying, hey, we want less government, they actually go to the government for fixing things. We want more government.
Yeah.
Even the other side wants more government.
Yeah, no, I think this is like a big thing that I've failed to understand as an American. Kenny is saying nothing is getting Europe out of a welfare mindset. LOL, it's Europe. I think that's a different discussion. I mean, that is a huge part of this. They say the US innovates, the US creates, and Europe regulates. And so that's a whole different side of this conversation. But I mean, just in terms of the conversations around attitudes towards free expression, so many like unelected European bureaucrats seem to despise free expression. It makes my stomach turn, that the disdain they have for free speech. It's crazy. I don't know what it's gonna take for there to be a reckoning. Things are in a really weird, bad place when there are like British public intellectuals that come on American TV and they're like, when I go back to the UK, I could get arrested for saying this right now. Like, that's the state we're in.
Yeah, and also they want to regulate social media, even ones that are not based in their country. Like they're sending warnings to people who are not even UK citizens because people in the UK are consuming it. They're like, I mean, in Europe, I mean, they're out of their mind. They're out of their mind.
So controlling. And honestly, it's like a toxic, controlling, over mothering mom.
Yes. And guys, I know Europe is more advanced. European countries are more advanced than other countries, but the only reason why you got here, not the only reason, the main reason why you got here is because United States managed to create such a powerful army for it to provide you with the security and stability you need to do trade. You owe your prosperity in Europe to US's military guarantee for your stability. You would not be able to afford such security yourself. Europe's economy would not be able to create anything resembling the US Army. So remember that it's US's economy and the way US grew that managed to afford an army that made Europe what it is today. It wasn't because you had welfare or something, you know, a more regulated form of capitalism. No, it was the US economy that saved you. Anyways, we should get to the comments.
Macron actually had a very interesting speech about that recently, where he's like, what are we going to do? Be omnivores, you know, kind of grazing on the pasture and just let people like kind of come upon this pasture ourselves? Or are we going to stand up and like be the commanders of our own destiny? I was like, damn.
I mean, I like that speech, but I mean, in print, I understand on paper that sounds amazing when Macron says like, oh, we have to have our own army. But here's the thing, you cannot afford it. You don't have the money to make an army like that. And you will never have a money because your economy is slow because you are welfare states. Okay, so it's amazing if Macron wants Europe to stand on its own without relying on the United States, but you will never be able to create an army like that because your economy is not big enough.
Oh, can I just tell a funny anecdote? So last week when we were talking about the Amsterdam riots, I said, oh, you know, one thing that I kind of enjoy about not living in Europe is not dealing with the hooligan football culture. After the show, my boyfriend was watching it, and so for those who don't know, my boyfriend is an American, and he moved to this country recently. He roasted me. He was like, well, you know, Susanna, one thing I loved about not living in the US is not worrying about gun violence and not have to worry about how I carry myself because I don't know who has a gun on them. I'm like, you got me, okay? I might dish it, but I can take it. So
we should read the comments that deselected. So
yes, I would like to give a shout out to our lovely, lovely editor D, who helps edit the stories for our website, as well as find social media posts about it. So there was a piece that Ayan Hirsi Ali wrote about this, and I read the piece, and interestingly, it actually talks about how it mentions a report in British prisons about how Muslim terrorists have been able to seize control of entire wings of prisons and set up Sharia courts behind bars. I didn't know about this. Would anyone be interested in covering this?
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Okay, scroll down. No, scroll down to the reaction. So yeah, they're just people like expressing that they're not surprised. This isn't the first time this has happened in the UK. We talked about the earlier incident. Keep scrolling.
People are saying, and we got a lot of yes reactions.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's dig into that.
Okay. So this one.
No, keep going. Yeah. So this person saw this with the comrade dog with the handle Supreme CCCP. Okay. So let's buckle up. Okay. Immediately out the gate. Nothing wrong with supporting the Palestinians' right to defend themselves in their land. Lock up the Jews who went to Gaza to grape, torture, and murder rings around them. They're psychopaths and a danger to society. Okay, so we're coming straight out the gate with just straight up terrorist support and virulent anti-Semitism. So now we kind of know what is the other side to this story. Exactly what I anticipated.
Yeah. By the way, I do support Palestinians' right to defend themselves. The best way for Palestinians to defend themselves is to unite with Israel to get rid of Hamas, right? So this is the reason. One reason why I support Israel is because Israel is better for Gazans, because Gazans' main problem is Hamas. So when somebody says like, I want you guys to remember this. When somebody says, don't Palestinians have the right to defend themselves? Just don't say no. Just say, yes, they have the right to defend themselves. But at the moment, they can't. The problem that they're facing is Hamas, and Gazans do not have the resources to fight back against Hamas And because Palestinians can't defend themselves against Hamas, they should basically unite with Israel to help them defend them against Hamas. That's the proper answer to this. Remember that.
Mhm.
Oh, that was the last one.
Yeah. So thank you to everyone who sent some super chats. Guys, don't forget that one of the best ways to support the show is through super chats. And also you can join the channel, become a member. You get access to our exclusive emojis and lots of member-only content that Armin does. Or you can support us via Patreon or PayPal. Link is in the description. So okay, when we were talking about how the other guy that got in trouble for supporting Hamas said that he was gonna pursue a PhD and that's why they gave him the sentence they did. We were talking about, can I just talk about my dreams and get out of a prison sentence? Bull McLeod is fucking funny. He makes me lose my shit sometimes when I'm trying to be serious in the chat because he said, "But Your Honor, I was born to dance." Going to dance.
That's good. That's good. I like that. I like
you
that.
gotta like have your Billy Elliot moment right in the middle of the courtroom. Okay, magistrate, please, sir. Kickball change. And also, yes, everyone. Thank you, Bull McLeod, for the super chat and for reminding everyone to please let us pray for the algorithm to give mercy to us. Leave out milk and cookies for the algorithm. You can help us with the demonetization that we will get hit because we cover spicy topics by liking, leaving a comment, sharing, subscribing. We are so close to 70K. Y'all got to get on the team and subscribe. Also,
Yes,
if you guys
please.
are watching this on Twitter right now, make sure to come over to us on YouTube. It's so much better.
Oh, by the way, guys, can I tell people that I just confirmed a guest so that they get, if you're new here, they might get excited and subscribe just to make sure that they see that show. Should I tell them?
Yeah, do it.
Yes, guys. So I just confirmed Emily Schreider is going to be a guest on our channel. Yes. We have a
guys. This is huge. This is huge.
So subscribe for that. Subscribe if you're new here.
Kenny gifted 10 Atheist Republic memberships. Kenny is one of our best volunteers, and he's also so generous. Thank you, Kenny. And EF also just gifted 10 Atheist Republic memberships.
Wow.
Thank you. Guys, if you just got one of these new memberships because of their generosity, make sure to show off the new emojis. Okay, and Amir Hussein is saying, Armin and Susanna, would you rather live in the US or Europe? Say Germany. I'd rather live in the US.
Yeah, guys, remember when we're talking about the US, we're talking about 50 different states that are very different. So there are a lot to choose from. so there's a lot of diversity. Okay. If you don't like a place in the US, there's so many other places that are. So yeah, I have so much more options with the US. Yeah. There's something for everybody there. Yeah.
I think I've also just become, as I've gotten older, way more appreciative of the competitiveness of the US and how much we value competition.
The opportunity for growth. I mean, yeah, if you're an entrepreneur in Germany, like there's so much red tape, there's so much bureaucracy. It's insane. Like the growth opportunities are so limited.
Yeah. So, I mean, and not to keep harping on it, but I just learned a lot from being in a relationship with someone that is an immigrant to this country. And we have really interesting conversations. And he was telling me, he's like, if you were in the top percentile of what you do, no matter what it is, like the best place in the world for you is the US because you guys value excellence so much and allow like an environment for it to flourish. I don't know. Learning these things is very interesting to me. Oh, you highlighted this. JAM84 is saying, are you all Zios here?
We try. I mean, I am a Zionist. We're trying to get to above 90% Zionist. Okay. So maybe not all, but we are working on it.
No, I mean, that's not a requirement by any stretch of the imagination, but that is definitely a position we take. So,
yeah. It's not a requirement, but it is a plus if you are a Zionist.
What the
What happened?
We love woke solids. Susanna is a Jew, so yeah, and Armin is a gay rich exile. Right? Okay, sure, buddy. Okay, sure.
Oh, wait, am I what? Gay what? Okay, where is that? Oh, rich exile Iranian. Okay.
Oh my God. All rich exile Iranians fled the country when Shah didn't support them anymore, being toppled. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. The ignorance is staggering.
This is trollable territory. All right.
So I'm just thinking about this anecdote that came when my dad, for some reason, when he was in grad school, used to be asked a lot if he was Jewish. I don't know why. And so he made it like a joke. He's like, no, I don't know why, but people think I'm an MOT. And I'm like, what's an MOT? He's like, member of the tribe. I just think that's such a cool way of putting it. Member of the tribe. Anyways,
Susie, if you're a Jew, if you discover that you're Jew, go get your Israeli citizenship. I would do that in a heartbeat if I was a Jew. If I could.
I actually had a friend, an Iranian friend of mine, recently discovered that she has crypto Judaic ancestry. She's freaking psyched.
Wow. Oh my God, if I had that in my ancestry, I would go get.
You have a higher likelihood of it than me.
Yeah.
You could be a secret Jew.
So secret that I'm unaware of it. Okay, so
that's how deep it goes.
Okay. Can we clap for the next news?
We don't like this, but no one died, and this is ridiculous. So
no one died, guys. When we clap, it's not because we like the news. It's because we're just clapping between our news, unless something very, very horrible happened. Like somebody died, somebody got molested.
We're gonna
genocide, torture, shit. Okay. Next news.
Berlin's Jews and gays told to hide their identities in Arab neighborhoods. Berlin's police chief, Barbara Slowick, issued a chilling warning to Jews and openly gay individuals, advising them to be vigilant and to avoid Arab-majority neighborhoods where hostility and anti-Semitism are on the rise. Quote, there are areas of the city where, let's be honest, or we need to be honest about this, where I would advise people who wear a kippah or are openly gay to be more careful, Slowick admitted in an interview in the Berliner Zeitung. I don't know how to pronounce anything German. Citing neighborhoods where sympathies for terrorist groups are common. Since the October 7th Hamas-Israel war, Berlin has seen a dramatic spike in anti-Semitic incidents with over 6,000 investigations this year, double previous figures. The tensions came to a head last week when a mob in the Neukölln neighborhood threatened a Jewish high school soccer team with knives and chanting "Free Palestine" and expletive "effing Jews." Slowick's remarks underscore a disturbing reality in Berlin, rising hate crimes in areas that also, ironically, include popular gay nightlife hotspots. As global tensions mount, Israeli travelers in the diaspora are increasingly urged to conceal their identities, reflecting a growing climate of fear. Yeah, D is saying this should be embarrassing for Berlin. This should be embarrassing for all of Germany. And I saw Twitter react to this with some dark humor. And the because this is how we have to cope with things sometimes. the dark humor was like, well, it took them about 90 years, but Germany is back at it again. I was like, oh, damn.
Oh, shit. Oh, no.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck.
Different this time with a new branding, huh?
Yeah. Rebrand.
Islamic version.
Yeah, Kenny's saying true, kind of bad history vibes there. Yeah, incredibly bad vibes. So this I don't even know what to say to this. I would love to hear from people in our community that are in Germany. Because I, only really having access to English speaking media, I don't really hear a lot about what are the reactions from the German public about this kind of thing. I want to know how Germans are reacting to this. Because I feel like if this was happening in the US, like we would be flipping our lid. I can't even believe this. And I think it speaks to the state of the culture and what I've come to expect, that when I hear this news, one of the first things I think is, oh, well, at least she actually has the gall to say it. Because I'm so used to broadly European officials not having the balls to actually say something like this and be honest about it. So my standard is, I'm like, wow, she's actually honest enough to say this. And I'm like, good job. But that's such a low standard. Unicorn is saying it is happening in the US and the loudest half of this nation support it. Unicorn, what are you talking about? Is there a single city where people have been advised to not be openly Jewish by their own police chief? And people have been urged to not be openly gay because of a local, first, second, third generation migrant community? I mean, if I'm wrong, let me know. But is there anything that is like as comparable coming from city officials themselves, not like a community leader, not like the leader of a synagogue or something, but like from...
We have problem, but not like this. We have many issues. Like we can point to a lot of anti-Semitism in the US, but not to this level.
Yeah, and I would never deny that.
Yeah.
And I throw my arms up over it. I can't deal with it. But
yeah.
So
I'm saying there were Nazis marching in Ohio. Yeah, but we're talking about entire areas where, we are not denying, again, like Susanna said, we're not denying that there's anti-Semitism in the US, but we're talking about entire areas where you can't be a Jew, where it's unsafe to be a Jew, right? We don't have that. Like, we don't have it to the level where it's a takeover of an area or of a city or of a block. It's not like that. Even though the levels of anti-Semitism is always higher than what we like it to be, obviously. I mean, even a little, like any level is too high. But again, this is in Germany is. By the way, this also somewhat proves my point, because the United States has way higher levels of free speech, and Germany has been trying to restrict these types of views with limiting free speech for a long time. And look at where US is and where Germany is. This shit doesn't work. Limiting, in fact, it might make it grow faster because it grows underground. So look at the level of restrictions people want on speech to make this shit go away. Germany had those. And Germany's anti-Semitism is way higher right now than US is. If I was a Jew, I would rather be in the US than in Germany. Am I wrong on this, guys? If you're a Jew, where is it better? US is better than, the best place is Israel, but between Germany and US, I will prefer US. So
and let me be clear, I have no delusions about what happens in the US is completely unacceptable. I mean, I talk about that on the channel a lot. that a lot of people pretend like the number one victim of hate crimes, religious or ethnic, are Jews in my country. Like I hate when people quibble over that and make comparisons and false equivalencies to Islamophobia and stuff. Like I've no delusions over what's going on, the assaults that take place, the terroristic threats to local synagogues, community centers, vandalism, like, let me be clear. If there are American Jews that feel unsafe, I would not quibble about that. I'm over that. I don't have tolerance for that. Maybe I'm wrong. It doesn't seem to me that it's on this level. It's wild.
Yeah. So somebody's disagreeing with me, saying, not totally true. Germany have laws that meant to be against Nazis. They did not expect the Mohammedans invasion. No, the laws are against expressing views that both Nazis and these Muslims hold. It doesn't say that if you're a Nazi, you cannot say it, but if you're a Muslim, you can. It's illegal for both of them to say these things. So this doesn't work. You should actually let these people to say their nonsense so that you could identify them. Okay, you need to be able to identify these fuckers. They need to expose themselves so you could use other laws to deal with this. First of all, you shouldn't have let these people in to begin with. That's the first thing you did wrong. Second, now that they're in, you need to target their children. Right? So first of all, you need to remove. You should not remove their speech from them because they need to expose themselves. You need to be able to and for society to be aware of what the fuck is happening and how bad the situation is. So you need them to say the things that they want to say, but you need to remove their ability to institutionalize. You need to remove shut down their mosques, shut down the charities, shut down any type of institution or organization or media. They could speak individually as an individual, but they shouldn't be able to profit from it. They shouldn't be able to build organizations around it, schools around it. And also their children should be removed from the bubble that the parents are brainwashing them in. Mm-hmm. You need to make it mandatory for the government to de-radicalize their children. And there should be no way out of that. Any parent that is trying to remove their channel from being exposed to this de-radicalization, the parent should be separated from the child. These are the ways that you could fight this shit. I mean, it's already might be too little too late. However, if you wanted to do something serious, these are the things that you would do without stopping them from saying what their views are. The garbage needs to identify itself as garbage, or else you wouldn't be able to tackle it.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, we've been talking a lot recently about some of the actions that Germany has been taking recently to actually call out Islamism by its name, use the label, take actions against it specifically, take actions against specific Islamic anti-Semitism, take actions against the adjusting immigration processes, refugee processes, where they have to now recognize the state of Israel. They have to pass certain qualifications on understanding Jewish life. We talked about the motion that they passed about Islamic anti-Semitism. Was it last week or the week before? This just goes to show that all of it is completely justified. And I hope they bring down more. So there was one comment that I wanted to highlight. Where was it? Oh, Unicorn, where was your comment talking about? Yeah, I won't visit my favorite city ever, NYC, ever again. I mean, maybe someday, but I didn't feel safe even visiting family in Dallas. Used to go often, only been once since October 7th. I don't blame you because of I don't blame you. The stuff that goes on in New York is insane. there's a part of me, I'm just being completely honest, that's very jaded. And I'm like, how much of that is just because of the reality of living in like a progressively Democrat run city in general? I'm I'm just jaded by living in cities like overrun with fentanyl addicts everywhere, that I'm like, how much of this is like specific uh targeting of community, and how much of it is just these cities are substantially less safe in general for
Yeah.
everyone. I'm no, but I understand that it is legit anti-Semitism. I'm not trying to like invalidate that feeling you're going through, because I 100% I get it. Because I'm just, when I saw that comment, the first thing I thought is like, well, I feel significantly less safe in a lot of these cities anyways. um there's a
I
neighborhood in
just
my
want
city
people.
that's one of my favorite to go to, and I don't go because of how filthy it's gotten, how
Mm.
dangerous it's gotten. And that's also the exact same neighborhood where you're most likely to see the most pro-Palestine, anti-Israel graffiti, vandalism all over that entire neighborhood. Like, it very conveniently coincides. So I'm like, how much of it is just because our cities are less safe? I don't know.
It's
Yeah.
not. Is it some cities? I just like no. Before you go, I have something to say. I just want people to understand that most of the U.S. is fine. There are
Yeah.
some specific areas that are that have issues, and people who want to anti-US people, they just highlight those problem areas and try to make like all of the US is falling. Most of the US is fine. Like, US is a very big place. We're talking about so many different cities. For
Yeah.
every, in San Francisco or New York, if you show me like this place is unsafe, in San Francisco, you have needles everywhere, there's poop everywhere. Okay, for every example that you could show me, I could find you thousands other examples in the US where everything is fine and nobody is noticing any of that and people are safe. So just remember, these specific places or these specific events, they capture a lot of attention in the news, but most of the US is safe, most of the US is fine, and US is growing faster than other countries, and people's lives are
Yeah.
becoming better and better in the US, better than most other countries. I just want people to see that in perspective.
Yeah, no, that's true. I've just been, like I said, I have to be aware of my own like biases and stuff. And one of them is
Yeah.
that I've been living in these specific cities that have decided to run themselves in the dirt with horrible policies for the past decade of
Right.
my life. So I have a little bit of an attitude, uh, but I recognize that. Cat Lady saying, Susanna, don't apologize. Obviously, you are not minimizing. No, I mean, I just want to make myself clear. Because I have so much sympathy for how threatened people in my community feel, and I take it extremely seriously. And I honestly have like, I don't know, I have a hard time like emotionally comprehending it, for lack of a better term. Like, there was an incident that happened about 2, 3 weeks ago, where one day I literally just had a breakdown, like sobbing over all the anti-Semitism I'm seeing. Like, I couldn't, I just broke down. I can't, it tears me up. I just can't deal with it. And so when I'm just giving my stupid little take, I just want to, make myself clear,
No,
because people will always take
your
you
takes are
in
great.
bad faith.
Your takes are not stupid or little.
No,
Yeah.
anyways, thank you, Cat Lady. Even though your profile picture is a cat showing us its asshole, we still love you.
we still love you. We love you more because of that. It's cute.
um so cool. Let's go to the
We had a super chat.
no, the post the D found.
Oh, D found first. Let's do that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to read this? Which one? Tell me where to go.
So
This
scroll
one?
down a little bit to the reaction. So basically, this is a very good contention that people have with the scenario where instead of telling the public that they need to take it upon themselves to hide their identity, which is sometimes difficult or impossible for some people, this person saying, or the police can do their jobs, which is true. And the police still should do their job and hold themselves accountable. I think the good faith way of taking this is like, there are things that all of us can do to help protect ourselves, to be proactive in preventing an attack. And it's just horrific that that's the state that we're in. But I kind of think of it as like, we all take measures to protect ourselves. Like we lock our doors. I park my car in a safe place. As a woman, there's a lot of things I have to do to take responsibility to protect myself, to be proactive about my safety. And the police should protect me should something go wrong. I don't know if I completely made myself clear there.
Yeah, in general, the society is more advanced if you as an individual have to do less, and the state is doing more. And again, if the state stops meddling in things that it has no business in, then it could do more the things that it's supposed to do. If it's not trying to run education, healthcare, regulate business, then it will have more money and more resources to do the things that it's supposed to do, like providing security. And the sign of an advanced society is where I have to do less as an individual to protect myself because the state is powerful enough to do that for me. That's the point of the state. The point of the state is not to tell me this is the papers that I have to fill to run a business, or that, I don't know, I cannot have this specific plate number, or because it might be offensive to somebody. The point of the state is to just make me not have to worry about my safety so I could do other things. That's the whole point of the state. Anyways.
Okay, scroll down a little bit. So this person said, including gays is an eyewash. No one cares about others' personal lives. What does that mean? However, the world has seen Jews celebrate the killing of oh my God. Okay. Celebrate the killing of children and women in thousands. They will get the response they deserve. Jesus Christ, the condemnation will get real and dark and generational across the globe. Jesus Christ. Okay, so if this is the stance we're taking of just pure collectivism, I don't think people are going to take the logical conclusion of this position particularly well.
This guy is justifying what's happening to this, but guy is basically justifying what's happening to Jews. They're like, hey, this is what you get if what's happening in Gaza, basically saying it's justified to go attack Jews in Berlin and make them feel unsafe. Unbelievable. Also, his first sentence is wrong. Nobody cares about other people's lives. You live in a different universe. I mean, Muslims do. Many Muslims do. They care about other people's personal lives. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, just because you think nobody cares. Oh yeah, nobody cares. Nobody is trying to regulate that. Homophobic people just do not exist. I mean, this guy is an idiot. So, and then,
yeah.
But
basically, you're only including gays in this sentence to, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, shoehorn in this topic to, like, make it seem like it's about something that it's not. You're like, okay, buddy guy.
The world has
and then is there any more?
By the way, look at this. This post is also anti-Palestinian. Okay, anti-Arab and anti-Muslim as well. Because it said the world has seen the Jews celebrate killing of children and women in thousands. They will get the response they deserve. Do you know this standard? If you apply this, well, we have seen some Palestinians, not all, some Arabs, not all, some Muslims, not all, celebrate the death of Jewish children on October 7th. If I say, well, they will get the response they deserve. Guys, this is not just, people don't understand. They think that they're supporting a side. These are the worst for their so-called side, because these arguments will justify just blanketly just coming up with supporting killing Arabs, killing Muslims, killing Palestinians. That's what this attitude would lead to if you actually agree with this. Anyways. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You forgot to unmute.
Oops, I'm muted. Please scroll.
Oh, scroll. This one?
Yeah, and this is a good. I liked this comment. Why are Western governments giving into these threats instead of standing up to them and imposing their values and rule of law? These people came here from another place. We do not have to change our lives to accommodate them. We need to turn this around. And that's why I wanted to hear commentary from any Germans in our community, because that's what I want to hear about. What is the reaction from the public about turning this around? I know how seriously Germans take anti-Semitism, and I'd be really curious to learn about more growing public awareness about this, new generation of Islamic anti-Semitism that's come into the country, and what are the popular demands for addressing this and being specific and not quibbling about politically correct language and if it's nice to say something or not, or polite and just being honest and tackling it head on. Because
bring in the army.
Like, where is the outrage? But I'm not in the German speaking sphere, so I can't see it as easily.
And also, if I was the head of state, I would, if the police doesn't have the resources to provide security, as the state, I have to do everything possible to do my one freaking job, which is provide security. So if the police is not enough, I will bring in the freaking army if I was in charge. Like, oh, the police doesn't have the resources, people are unsafe here, and the police can't do anything about it. Well, we'll bring in the army until we get this to a point where the police is enough. That's what I would do. Oh, that was the last one.
Okay. Wait, sorry, I just saw that you pulled up some you started one of the super chats, and it's hilarious. Mojab search history. I think this has to be a troll, because their profile picture is a golden shower. And they said, y'all are intellectually molested by Zios. And I almost took this seriously, and then I realized you're trolling because the picture. First of all, how dare you? Yeah, Sarah is saying, I don't understand how authorities have no control over this. Like, Germany isn't Haiti, it's not run by gangs. Is it just that people are too afraid to say something that's uncomfortable? Like, are people starting to wake up? I need to know. Germans, please tell me what's up. Trells is saying, hey, Armin and Susie, there's an Atheist Republic profile on Blue Sky. Is that actually you? Armin, did you create one?
Somebody created this for us, and they asked me if I want it, and I said, sure, yeah. I don't know, guys, should we be on Blue Sky? I mean, we're already in more places that I can manage. Let us know if you think we should be on Blue Sky. I mean, I think Twitter is fine.
Yeah.
X. Yeah. Let us know if you guys should think we need to be active on Blue Sky. I think X is fine. I don't think like X has fallen or anything like that people are saying. Honestly, this might be controversial for our audience. Let me know. I think X might be. I know there's a lot of bullshit in X right now, but I like it better when everything goes. I mean, it's my responsibility to deal with fact checking. I don't need Twitter. I don't need the moderators to fact check things for me. There's a lot of unconfirmed like bullshit conspiracies on X right now. But I'm fine with that because I have my own filters. I could deal with it. I like X better right now. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I have tuned, the algorithm to give me a proper diet of right-wing slop so I can see the absolute bullshit that is flowing. Because I need to keep my eye to the streets, okay? I need
yes,
I need to be abreast of all the right-wing slop.
Yes, and we need to, guys, sometimes we are dealing so much with woke nonsense and Marxist nonsense that we forget that there's a lot of right-leaning nonsense as well.
Oh, I don't forget.
Oh, yeah, but you don't. I know you don't forget, but I'm just saying that we need them not to be censored on social media so that we can see that they're freaking there. One reason why we're seeing a lot of woke nonsense, but a lot of right-leaning nonsense, because social media has been tolerant towards woke nonsense, and they have been removing right-leaning nonsense. So it seems like, oh my God, the crazies are only coming from the left. But there's also a shitload of crazies on the right, and we haven't been seeing them because they constantly get censored. I want them to be there so we could see them.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, you go on Twitter and it's like, what type of racism is being served up this week? Oh, I see. This is
right.
We're like, yes. I'm not exactly sure why, but it seems that people have it out for this community this week. Okay.
Yeah. By the way, sorry saying I don't forget, and I'm right wing mostly. Yes, I guys. When we say right wing lunacy or left wing lunacy, we're not like generalizing to all right leaning people or left leaning people. Okay. So I have both right leaning views and left leaning views. There's nothing wrong with being right leaning. We're talking about the far right people, not all of right people. Yeah. Okay. So.
Okay. So.
And by far right, we don't mean people who are concerned about Islam or immigration. Okay. By far right, we're talking about the genuine racist people, not people who get labeled as racist just because they're concerned about mass migration. Okay. We're talking about racist people, homophobic people, transphobic people, and misogynist people.
So Callie saying, Armin and Suze, did you see the Yahtzee? This is the word we use on YouTube because it's sensitive. Salute and talks a final solution, and the "we're coming for you" that happened in the protests in Canada. Yeah, oh my God. When I was doing research for the show yesterday, all of a sudden I noticed all the stuff that happened in Montreal. I was like, what the hell? So I'm thinking of covering it next week. If there's like a specific story that you want us to cover, please let me know. Because I was like, what the hell is going on? And Trudeau was partying at a little concert. Dancing while Montreal's on fire. Carlo Kali, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel. Said, what about Rabbi Kogan in the UAE that was killed? So I only heard about this yesterday when it said that he was missing. This just happened within the past 24 hours. I'm not even sure if it is confirmed that he's killed. Like, is this news? I don't know. I just woke up.
Seems like it's been confirmed. I mean, I saw the headline news. I didn't click on it yet because it just happened. But based on what I'm hearing secondhand, it seems like it has been confirmed that he's been killed. So
yeah,
we will cover this.
I want more information to come out, and we might cover this next week because there's this facts have barely been established.
This is why we need Israel.
Bar Mustel for a member for 7 months. Thank you, saying we are in the early 30s. People don't see it yet. Oh, that's bleak. I don't want to believe it's true. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be deluded. You know what I mean? That's why I take the anti-Semitism so incredibly seriously, because I think a lot of people see, actually, let me go on a miniature rant. This is something.
Wait, before you do, can you explain what's happening here? Is he talking about like the situation right now is like resembling the 1930s, and things are going to get more worse?
I believe that's what he's saying. Yeah.
Okay. Go on your rant. Ready for it.
Okay. So what I was saying, why I'm taking it so incredibly seriously, because what I was thinking about is an extension of something I talked on the show about last week when we were talking about the Jew hunt that happened in Amsterdam. Was it makes me so incredibly angry and sick to my stomach the way that people here in the West will like quibble over the details and be like, oh no, it was just a clash of football players. And oh, da, 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 da. And when meanwhile, like our community members in Atheist Republic living in other places in the world, living in Arab countries in the world, are telling us, oh no, in my neighborhood, they gave 50% discounts to all Moroccans because Moroccans were the people Jew hunting in the Netherlands. So I've just been thinking about how sick I am to my stomach and dead tired of all the quibbling over the semantics in the language. And it's like, oh well, it's if you look at it this way, really they're just criticizing that, and it's not really about this and da 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 da. I think it's absolute dog shit. I think it's bullshit. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it, because you know what it is? It is an utter luxury, a disgusting luxury and privilege to be saying, in the face of this stark violence and hatred, to quibble over the details. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Yeah, exactly. Depends on the context. Well, I mean, really, there was this that happened. And I mean, if you look at it that way, and, it's not necessarily anti-Semitic, because you could look at it semantically this way and da 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 da. That's all privilege and a luxury. And it's a luxury that millions of Jews around the world do not have, frankly. And it's such a Western thing. Like, I think part of it is also like very American. Like, try telling that bullshit to like a Soviet Jew. Like, they're not gonna buy it. You know what I mean? Like, or someone whose family fled Iran. Like, they're not gonna buy it. It's not semantic. These people mean what they say. I've just been thinking a lot about what I said last week, when we can quibble over the details here in the West. And I think it's very self-masturbatory to be like, oh, look at what an intelligent person I am, that I can like look at all of the kind of the semantic details of this and kind of cut it both ways, and really play devil's advocate, and look, it's like a sign of intelligence. You know what I mean? Other people don't have that luxury. Millions of other people do not have that luxury, and I can't freaking stand for it anymore. I'm completely over it. Yeah, I'm so sorry. That was my mini rant. I've been thinking about that recently. It's just utter privilege and luxury, and it's sickening.
The cat is saying Armin will now say the difference is that we have Israel. Yeah, that is, we're in a much better situation because that's an option, but also that is being fought for, with people's lives. We saw the cost of, the cost that people are paying to be able to have this option. And also, we also have to understand that this is, as much as we say it's good that we have Israel for Jews to have a place that they could be safe, it's not that easy to just move to a country. I mean, it's good that we have that option, but you can't, like, people are, and you have to understand, most people are not rich, okay? It's financially, family-wise, your connections, your friends, just leaving everything that you have from Europe or Canada or United States or somewhere in, one of the previous Soviet countries, and they're just going to Israel. That's like a devastating, like, imagine most Americans cannot, if you say this about Jews, if you're just imagine yourself just disconnecting from everything and just going out and living in a different country, the financial costs associated with that, the ties that you have, the friends that you have, you can't just do it's not as easy as an option for most people, right? And the fact that so many people are doing it now shows how strong anti-Semitism is becoming. Like, it's not an option that you could just like, oh, okay, I'm just going to press it and everything is good now. The fact that some people are choosing it shows how dire the situation must be when it comes to the level of anti-Jewish hatred where they are.
I think, and by the way, I actually think it's like a devastating shame that I do believe that it is necessary. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is a devastating shame that I can't get over, especially as an American. Like, there was Biden, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was criticized for saying something along the lines of like Israel's keep Jews safe. And one criticism that was made against him, I think by Ta-Nehisi Coates, that had some validity is like, what do you mean Israel keeps Jews safe? They're Americans, like we should be keeping them safe. And I sympathize with that. I'm like, yes, 100% yes. Like I take that very seriously as a citizen. I take that incredibly seriously as a citizen. And it is one of the deepest shames that I feel towards my nation, that I don't know if that's the case. You know, it's vastly superior than other situations or nations. Let me be clear. I think it's vastly superior to be in the US versus France or the UK. But I think that is a devastating indictment. Yeah, and I actually have a hard time like getting over it. I don't know. I don't even think I should get over it.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go through we got more super chats.
Yeah, we've been just chit-chatting away today.
It's good. Okay. I like it. I like your rants.
Itai gave a super chat. Thank you for the 15 shekels. By the way, I think the symbol for shekels is so cool. Susanna.
Yes, I keep telling people it doesn't look even Hebrew to me. To me, it looks like a Mayan symbol.
I was about to say
on
the
a
same
temple.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been saying that in the streams. Like, I think like this is somebody from Mexico or something. Like shekels. Yeah, anyways, go on.
Yeah, pesos. Susanna, do your friends' ancestors who you said were crypto Jews come from Mashhad? I can't remember exactly, but I think some of them did. But I'm not, the one doing her research. Enric gave a super chat. Thank you, saying a luxury that won't protect them next. Oh, you're talking about my statements about the luxury of quibbling over these things. Yeah. And trying to kind of self masturbate over how intelligent you are over, trying to cut these issues both ways. Yeah, I think I get what you mean. I think that's very salient. Okay, so let's go to the next story.
Wait, I want to say I'm going to copy this from the cat lady from now on, okay? Every time I see if I'm debating with a Muslim in the live chat, I'm going to say, no jizz for you. No jizz for you. Is that okay? We will not pay your jizya. No jizz, no more. Okay.
I'm upset.
Guys, if you see, not all Muslims, but if you see a Muslim trolling in our live chat, just tell them, no jizz for you. Get out of here. Okay. Oh, look, Mark likes it. Okay. Can we clap for the next news?
What? You threw me through a curveball there, man. I'm upset.
Okay.
Shake it off. Okay.
All right. Okay. Clap worthy.
Sure.
All right. Next news.
Next news. The IDF's new offensive arrest warrants for over 1,000 ultra-Orthodox draft dodgers. In a controversial crackdown highlighting the deepening tensions between Israel's military needs and religious freedom, the Israel Defense Forces, or IDF, has taken unprecedented action by issuing 1,126 arrest warrants for ultra-Orthodox Jews who have failed to respond to military draft notices. This move comes at a particularly sensitive time as Israel grapples with ongoing military operations and increased defense requirements. Brigadier General Shai Taib revealed that of the 3,000 ultra-Orthodox who received draft orders, 1,126 were issued arrest warrants for those who did not report to the first and second orders, underscoring the stark resistance among the Haredi community, which has historically been exempt from military service to pursue religious studies. The situation has ignited fierce debate in Israeli society, with opposition leader Yair Lapid demanding immediate additional conscription orders, while military officials acknowledge a complex reality. Despite needing 10,000 new soldiers, they can only accommodate 3,000 ultra-Orthodox recruits due to the special provisions required for their religious lifestyle. So basically, they needed 10,000, but because of essentially the burden of integrating this specific population, it's only worthwhile for them to take on 3,000. This limitation has drawn sharp criticism from lawmakers like Likud's Yuli Edelstein, who argues that the current numbers are woefully inadequate for a country facing significant security challenges, especially considering that the ultra-Orthodox make up 12% of Israel's population. So, okay, my friends. Let us hear from the Israelis in the live chat because I want y'all's opinions, because this is a very sensitive situation for those who are maybe not kind of familiar with this, what's going on. There's been an ongoing for many years, but it's kind of come to a head over the past year, issue with the Haredi, or the ultra-Orthodox community, not being part of the conscription mandatory military service within Israel. And this has gotten extremely problematic as that population grows larger. And, they utilize public services and benefits, state benefits, as much as everyone else, but they are not really pulling their fair share, many would argue, when it comes to the defense of the nation. And this has caused a stark division, or some levels of resentment that I've seen among Israeli society, among people who are sending their sons and daughters to war, but the specific community doesn't have to because they get this special exemption, and some even go about their life as if there is no war. I think, I don't know, this is something that is not to be taken lightly, because I think the draft is, and this isn't exactly a draft, but conscription is something that is very serious, especially during wartime. Like, I don't want to treat it flippantly. I think that doesn't speak to the gravity of what it is. I mean, especially within my nation, I'm a woman. I never have to worry about that. And so it would be easy for me to be like, oh, what's the big deal? Just do it. No, but this is very serious. This is a huge thing to ask of someone, to ask of the citizenry.
But it's a double standard. Okay, fine. But as long as other people are doing it, why the fuck can they get away? Whether or not this should be asked of people, that's a separate issue. Mm-hmm. The consistency in the standard, like, this is religious privilege. This is fucking religious privilege. I get to have other laws, I have to other standards because I have a sky daddy that considers me to be a special person. So you as a state should also consider me a very special person because my sky daddy considers me a special person. This is fucking bullshit. I don't give a shit about your fucking stupid religion. You are a citizen. You should be treated like every other fucking citizen. I don't care about your personal beliefs. I don't give a shit about your personal beliefs. Okay, my personal beliefs is that I want to steal them. My society tells me to steal, to go to malls and pick up. This is my deeply held belief, is that I get to go to a mall and pick stuff up and get out of the mall without paying for it. Treat me differently? Fuck off. What the hell? What the fucking hell? I mean, if they shouldn't be forced to go to war or to serve in the military, then nobody should be forced. But if other people are being forced, then they should go as well. No religious privileges for you. What the fuck? I don't understand. This is obvious to me. Is there any argument in favor of this? Like, I don't understand. I'm glad in Israel more and more people are standing up against this bullshit. I get a sense, based on what I'm seeing from Israel, there's more and more hatred towards these freeloaders in Israel. Like, it's growing. Like, a lot of people are like, it was there before because most of Israel is like has a secular mindset, but ever since this war, the fact that most of Israel is paying a heavy price for this, and these people are just like, oh yeah, no, we don't have to because of religious reasons, is making more people call out this bullshit in Israel more than before. Is this the trend in Israel?
I saw a rabbi from this community saying that this is worse than the annihilation of the Jewish people. And I'm like,
wait, what?
There was a rabbi saying that this is worse than the annihilation of the Jewish people.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Isn't this an insult to the Holocaust family of the Holocaust victims?
Because so apparently, I didn't know this, there's been instances throughout history where forced military conscription was a way to forcibly assimilate Jewish populations. And so they see it as a mandate to work to preserve this element of Jewish tradition and culture. And that this is a way for that to be chipped away at and destroyed. And so that's why they see it as worse to a certain degree. I don't think I'm doing the argument due justice.
The religious culture is to do the celebrations, to do the food, to do the dancing and all of that. It's part of Jewish culture.
No, they're talking about the Torah study and the
to be able to get your woman to do both the housework and be the bread bringer, go make income, and also do the housework while you just pick a text and go like this all your fucking life. You're basically a freeloader in your family. You're taking advantage of the woman in your family more than even fucking Muslims. Okay, Muslims treat women like, I go do my work, I'll bring the money, but you have to do as I say in the household and clean everything and take care of the children. These mofos are even worse than that. They're like, no, actually, you take care of everything in the house, you take care of the children, and you go work and bring the money. I just read religious texts. Is this the culture that you want to preserve? Jewish culture will be better if this goes extinct. Honestly, if this fucking disgusting part of your culture goes extinct, that's an improvement to Jewish culture. So yeah, get rid of this. Like, what the fuck is this? This is disgusting. This is absolutely disgusting. I mean, Israel is better because it's secular. It's more secular. The secular liberal part of Israel is what's making Israel superior to other countries in the Middle East. Not this bullshit. The culture that Israel brought from Europe to the Middle East, that's what makes Israel better. The part of the culture that Israel inherited from the rest of the Middle East, that is not what making Israel better, right? So there's two cultures in Israel that is competing. One that inherited from Europe and the other that inherited from the Middle East. The one that inherited from Europe, that's what makes Israel superior to all the other countries in the Middle East.
Yeah, I was recently watching so I watch some Israeli media that's English language sometimes, and I was watching a conversation amidst a bunch of women, and some of them were female activists from the Ultra-Orthodox community, And they were talking about that phenomenon. And apparently the whole thing of women being kind of the breadwinners and also working is actually a newer phenomenon. It's they said it kind of started in the 90s. And so it's there's a lot of variety within it. Um uh I think and so based on the media that I consume, which is obviously, has its limitations and its biases, whatever, I see certain attitudes reflected of Israelis talking about their frustrations, that some feel that there is a sense of entitlement from the community, that they are very frustrated by, that they feel like is unreasonable, maybe a sense of moral or spiritual righteousness that they find distasteful, like the idea that their spiritual warfare is as important, if not more important, than the people actually doing the fighting. Um, and and but there are other people within the Haredi community who are working to promote service within their communities, because there are instances where there might be someone that wants to serve, but they face a social cost for serving. They can be ostracized, they can face issues within their community if they do make the choice to serve voluntarily. And there are initiatives to what's the word I'm looking for? Bolster people who do serve, to make accommodations, to design programs to encourage them to serve as much as possible. So there are people that take it very seriously and like are actively promoting it within the community and making huge efforts to make that more normalized and accepted. So I don't want to make it seem like it's black and white. Like there are a lot of people that do want to really contribute in that way. There's just like all these barriers and obstacles. But now, for the first time over the past year, because of some court decisions that came down and things that happened within Netanyahu's government, now they're actually allowed to go ahead and start sending out these draft orders to men in this community. And that has shaken up things incredibly. I mean, there was at one point where people were concerned about this actually like breaking Netanyahu's government, Um, and so let's look at
wait. Before you do that, I want to say a couple of things, okay? First of all, I am very happy to see this happening. Wait, do you want to just go to the comments?
No, go ahead.
No, okay. So, I'm happy to see this happening under the most right-leaning government that Israel has ever had, right? To me, this shows that there's a huge demand for this. This is not like a lefty government, okay? The fact that we're seeing this happening for the first time under the most right-leaning government Israel has ever had shows that the forces that want this in Israel are so strong. Okay, so I just want to make sure, like, because I see a lot of people in the chat thinking that I am taking a position against is what Israelis want, but to me, this actually shows that this is what Israelis want. Also, a lot of people misunderstand what I'm saying, including John. Okay, so John is saying some of the ultra-Orthodox are very much from Europe. I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about ideas. I was born in Iran. I was born in the Middle East. I'm a liberal. Liberalism and secularism and democratic ideas, they became popularized in the West. So just because they're from Europe, that doesn't mean these ideas were originated in Europe. Okay, so if that's so, is liberal ideas now a Middle Eastern idea because me, a liberal, was born in Tehran? That doesn't make any sense. And then, for example, you're saying plenty of secular Israelis are Mizrahi. Yeah, okay, and
what does that have to do with anything? We weren't talking about the Mizrahim.
No, because he was saying that I say these ideas like European ideas versus Middle Eastern ideas, and he's saying like, well, Israelis who are from Middle East, many of them are secular. Yeah, like for me, I'm also Middle Eastern and I'm a secular liberal, but these ideas were popularized in the West. Yeah. So that doesn't contradict what I'm saying. And again, Arthur is saying something similar, saying Haredi culture is Europe and from 400 years ago. No, Abrahamism is ancient. You're talking 400 years ago. I'm talking 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. These came from the Middle East. And also somebody saying, disagreeing with me, saying Zionism is Judaism. No, Zionism is not Judaism. Zionism was created to protect Jews, both religious Jews and non-religious Jews, atheist Jews, religious Jews, secular Jews, all Jews as people. It was trying to protect people, all of them, including atheist Jews. Zionism originated as a secular movement. It was a secular movement. The founders of Zionism were non-religious people. The first enemies of Zionism were religious Jews. Anyways, go look, I don't know, say, go look, read your history. How come I know this more than you? Anyways, I'm going to stop ranting. You're muted.
Okay, so we got a lot of reactions in the live chat. So, and this is helpful because this is exactly what I wanted to discuss. So thank you for people giving me your opinions, because this is really helpful. I like the insight. So Sarah is saying, I feel sad that ultra-Orthodox have to do things that go against their religious beliefs, but that is also simply the toll you have to pay to live in this country. What do you think about that?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm not sad. People, they have to go against their religious beliefs. This is like, why should the society treat you differently because of your religious beliefs? I'm not sad. I'm actually happy that your religious beliefs are not being used as a privilege. This is an improvement in Israel. This is why I love Israel. Israel is becoming, this is the right direction. Israel is caring less and less about your religious privilege. This is one step in the right direction. This shows that Israel, even like people think right-leaning governments are anti-liberal. This shows to me that even a right-leaning government understands liberal principles that makes Israel great. This is a step in the right direction, where you can't use your religious beliefs as an excuse to not to be treated like other citizens. In fact, I want this to go all the way to Muslims and Arab Israelis as well. Why is it that Jews have to serve in the military and Israeli citizens who are Arab or Muslim, why do they, like, they're getting all the benefits from being an Israeli citizen? In fact, I think it's not just the ultra-Orthodox Israeli citizens that are enjoying this privilege that they shouldn't be. The law should apply to everyone equally, including Arab Israelis that are not forced to either remove it for everybody or make it equal for everyone, including the Arabs, including Muslims. That's what I think.
The Druze actually heavily serve in the IDF. I think disproportionately for their population,
because they want to. I think they want to. That's not by force. Yeah.
The cat lady saying, I think the ultras need to wake up because they are harming their image in the overall society. This is something that I've heard reflected a lot when I go do my browsing, my testing of the waters. I hear the sentiment a lot. And now it is absolutely justified. I never supported drafting them, but now it's wartime. It's too much. That's what was so fascinating when I was watching some of these discussions. These women were talking about how in their communities, people literally live like they don't know that a war is happening. And the other women on the panel, not from that community, is like, what are you talking about? They're like, yeah, no, I mean, it's like the same way that a war is happening in Ukraine. And they're like, what? SAR is saying there are plenty of ultra-Orthodox Jews in the IDF. The Haredi can join too. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was talking about this. And I was learning about some of the social programs they're running for this. Yeah. So Unicorn raised a similar point to what you just said, Armin. Other religions don't have conscription there. Muslims don't have to join the IDF, nor Christian, Druze, etc. I'd actually really like to learn more about why this started. When did this start, and what was the reasoning at the time? I'd be very curious.
Druze, I think, is mandatory for Druze in Israel, even though I know a lot of Druze want to anyways. But for Druze, I think for Druze is mandatory, isn't it? For mandatory? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
Sam is saying that the men have to serve.
Druze men, not women, have to serve. Okay, so that's a double standard. Why is it that with rest of the citizens, their men and women have to serve, but with Druze only their men have to serve? Equal. Okay, guys, it's a liberal principle. Equal laws for all your citizens. If you're a citizen, you don't get any privileges because of your ethnicity or your religious beliefs. You're a citizen. You're a citizen. A citizen is a citizen is a citizen. Okay. Equality under the law, one of the most important liberal principles.
Yeah, so Ukraine is saying that it's because of the security risk.
Oh, you don't
That's
trust
what I
them
assumed.
So,
well, I mean, Armin, if that's the actual reasoning and justification for it, what do you think about that?
I mean, you don't. So you're saying these citizens are not to be trusted? That's why you're not giving them guns? Okay, so here's
or
the thing.
Training on how to, be a soldier.
To be a soldier. So I will accept if there's an ideal that you're working towards to, okay, that works, that we know works, but you are not in that position to be able to do that right now. As long as I know that you're trying to bring your nation to a point where that ideal that we know we have proven that works in a society, you're moving in that direction. I'm not like an idealist that thinks that everything has to be, we should ignore pragmatic situations and everything has to be this good right now. But as long as you're aspiring to go into that direction, even though it's not reasonable to do it at the moment, the trend and the direction matters more to me rather than where you are right now. So if it's true that this is a security concern, I can see the point, as long as we are trying to make it go to a direction where, I mean, I've seen some major progress recently. Ever since October 7th, the percentage of Arab Israelis that consider themselves to be patriotic and consider their identity to be Israeli has skyrocketed. Impressively so, faster than many people, including even me, anticipated. Okay, this is the direction that we want Israel to go. So we could hope for a day, even if we are not in a situation right now where all citizens could be treated equally, we have to move into that direction. So the direction is what matters more. And again, this is why I celebrate this news, because this is moving in the right direction.
Okay, I see your point. Yeah. Okay. Wait, what was the comment I wanted to hire? Yeah, so this is kind of what I was saying about the social consequence that people face from the Haredi community if they want to join. The cat lady saying, I know these people, many of them would love to join the army, but they have their leaders and generally they are afraid to rebel. But come on, it's not regular times, it's war.
Yeah. And remember, guys, I'm not generalizing. I am criticizing the views. Okay. So for example, I'm anti-Islam, but we have Muslims that we love, that I had Muslim guests, Muslims that I consider to be liberal themselves, even though if they don't understand that liberalism and Islam are contradictory, the fact that they are liberal as a Muslim, we support them, we support their activism. So when I say this is bullshit, these are backward views, I'm not saying that all single ultra-Orthodox Jewish people, they're all bad people. I'm talking about these positions. I'm not generalizing all the individuals. I'm sure there are even very extremely religious Jewish people that I would love as an individual, that I would get along with. I would be against their religious views, but I'm not condemning these people. But I will never hold back in how aggressively I am against certain views, even if I could celebrate the individual as a person and maybe even be friends with them. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I think about, I can't fully think about what it would be like if I was in a similar situation in my nation, because it's just not a lot of analogous scenarios, but I just think about like if there was an extremely traditionalist, pretty high control community that had this much power over my politics nationally and locally, just with my disposition, I'd be losing my mind. I'd be so pissed. It doesn't matter like what the background is or it's about the for me a lot of it is about how high control a community is.
And also, Susie, I've been to Tel Aviv. Okay, Tel Aviv is such a modern, advanced place. Like it's a city that is above and beyond like most other cities in the Middle East. Okay, and then in Tel Aviv, I went to this ultra-Orthodox places. People, okay, it's like going into a fucking time machine. It's like having a very advanced, secular, liberal city, and then you go to this neighborhood that is these ultra-Orthodox people living. You feel like you have went 300 years back in time. It's insane. The values there, the way they treat women, the view that they have over technology, the way that they control the society. There are, so women don't get to have phones, so that they don't, men only get to have phones that are not smartphones, and it's completely regulated. And the women, just so that they're not exposed to liberal free views, they don't get to have any phones. And they communicate with like posters on walls. And there are some women that are trying to save this woman, and they go put hidden like anti-female messages on these walls, but they have hidden messages in there to let these women know that there's help from them outside of this bubble. It's completely like Handmaid's Tale situation right in the middle of Tel Aviv. Like, you have no idea the level of anti-female discrimination that exists there and the level of control they have there. There's signs that are blaming situations, an accident that happened a week ago. In one of the signs that we were reading, an accident happened in the street, and they were blaming it because some women in the neighborhood were not wearing proper clothing. They black out. It's even worse than Islamic countries. They were blacking out even like children's legs on advertisements that were on products that were selling there.
Like advertisements for ovens and female products, and they literally don't show women in the entire image. It's actually a huge problem.
They have, the boys have prayers in their school. The boys there, they have prayers thanking God for not being born a girl. That's part of their curriculum. They start their classes by thanking God for not being born a girl.
I'm laughing because I have a sex-based chronic disease, and I'm like, dude, I get it. Trust me. Like, because this disease I have, like, dude, same.
Right.
Oh my God. No, I mean, you've told me that you've seen women in Israel that have a more restrictive life than women in Iran.
Yeah, but again, this is not most of Israel. This is our very specific, unique places in Israel. Like most of Tel Aviv is fucking great. And then you go to here, it's like, am I still in Tel Aviv? Or did I just move to an Islamic country? What is this neighborhood? Yeah, so this is weird. I mean, actually, you can find this in New York as well. In New York, there's a ultra-Orthodox Jewish part that is just like that. Anyways, I'm not going to go into that.
Yeah. Okay, let's go through a few more comments and super chats. The cat lady saying the main thing is not to mix with society. That's why they're so segregated, which is absolutely correct. They are separated, and they will not be the same if their children go to the army. So, but again, this is what worries me, because this is okay. I don't care what freaking religion or ethnicity you are. This is the mark of a destructive, high control group. These are really toxic behavior patterns. Part of indoctrination is the control over the physical environment. It really bothers me. So I do want people to be more mixed within society. That's healthy. So actually, no, let's go to that last. Sar is saying only a tiny percentage of Jews ever spend most of their time learning Torah and all of history. This phenomenon was created in Israel, unfortunately, for political reasons. It needs to go away. So this is someone agreeing with you, Armin. And yeah, this was an exemption originally started by the Israeli government for the sake of posterity and preserving their history that was almost eliminated, you know. And they never expected that it would grow to this degree. Originally, it was only for like some 40 odd yeshiva students or something. That's my understanding of the history. The cat lady is saying the main issue is that they have way too much influence politically because they are a tiny minority that might make a difference, and that's a voting crowd, and they're having kids a lot. Yeah, we've talked about this whole demographic shift a lot on this channel. EF was also saying, we don't need freeloaders. They are not a special class of people. They should enlist like the rest of us. It's only fair. Also, they get grants and some financial support as well as not serving. And this is also an attitude I've seen reflected when I was doing my digging for kind of Israeli reactions about this kind of thing. A lot of people were like, okay, you don't want to serve, you don't get your benefits. I can understand the frustration. Okay, so let's go to the super chats. Wanjas, thank you for the super chat and saying hello from Germany. Just stumbled in. Love you too. Thank you. Thank you for supporting. Kenny asked a question saying, but aren't there other groups also exempt from conscription? So shouldn't they be exempt either? Or am I just, we kind of already talked about this. Yeah, you covered your position on this.
I agree with Kenny.
And I'll do this one last. Sam Samuels gave 30 shekels. Thank you, Sam. That's generous. Saying, great show as always. Western culture is not perfect. And I would never say otherwise. I see the Haredim, and I grew up as Haredi, as a very Western form of Judaism. It's extremism and toxic idealism that definitely come from the West.
Okay, so let's just be clear. When I say European ideas, I'm not talking about all European ideas. I'm not talking about all Western ideas. I'm specifically talking about liberal Enlightenment values, okay?
Yeah.
Because you know what? What else is Western? Sam, Nazism is Western.
Marxism.
Marxism is Western. Wokeism is Western. A lot of times I say Marxism is Western. People say Marxism is Russian. No, Marx was German, guys. Marx was German. Okay, so I'm specifically
postmodernism is French.
Yes. So when I say Judaism, okay, so yeah, this is maybe a Western version of Judaism, but originally Judaism came from the Middle East. It went around the world. I mean, Islam also has Western versions, Indonesian versions, Middle Eastern versions, North African versions, but originally it came from the Middle East, right? So I'm talking about the origins, right? So just remember, that's why I say Western liberal values. I don't say Western values. There's a lot of Western values that are shit. In fact, some of the worst ideas in the world, I mean, the top 3 worst ideas in the world, 2 of them is Western. The top 3 worst ideas right now spreading is Islam, wokeism, and Marxism. 2 of them are Western. So we're not endorsing all Western ideas, right? Anyways.
No, but I mean, just based on the history of this specific sect of Judaism, I mean, it has been influenced by the hundreds of years that it's spent within the European continent. Like that's obvious.
Yes, but we just refer to the origins of these ideas as a way to separate, as a way to brand them. I'm not saying obviously they're being influenced by other things. I mean, people say the West, the world actually is basically the competition between the ideas that came from 2 cities, Athens and Jerusalem. I like to add Florence as well, because I think when it comes to empiricism and liberalism and Age of Enlightenment, the Renaissance was the main thing that started that as well. So I like to, instead of cutting it into 2 pieces of Jerusalem and Athens, because I think Athens is rationalism, Jerusalem is faith, I like to add a 3rd city, Florence, that is empiricism and humanism and bring things from, because I think both Athens and Jerusalem believe in an ideal world of that is separate from us, and they think like humans are trying to, that we do not belong into this world, and the whole point of life is to move to a world that we actually belong to. Either is Platonism or Abrahamism, they both believe in that. It was the Renaissance that brought us from either Plato's idealism or Abrahamic out of worldliness, brought us back to earth, brought us from the heavens
into
to
the
earth.
material.
Basically made us humanistic, made us more empiricist, and then eventually the Renaissance led to the Age of Enlightenment. So I think like both Athens and Jerusalem are inferior to what Florence brought humanity to, I think, in my opinion. That's my categorization.
I have so many questions I want to ask you about this, but it's a huge diversion.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then John gave us one of those. Okay, so let's go to the super chats. So Jan, who, no offense, has been kind of going off on some nonsense in the live chat, but thank you for the super chat, Jan. Saying,
thank you.
Have you heard of Theosophy, an ideology behind the UN's global vision? It seeks to unify the world by embracing national and religious identities. Could this explain the UN's stance towards Israel? So Jan has been like spouting off in the live chat about some like globalist BS. Sorry.
No,
what do you think? Does this explain the UN? I don't think so.
No. Okay, so guys, we could do globalism wrong, and we could do globalism, the right way. Globalism is not necessarily a bad thing. Globalism that threatens countries' right to choose their own destiny and their own independence, that is the wrong form of globalism. But globalism that respects each country's border integrity and the right to self-determination, but also enables countries to work with each other and cooperate with each other, that is the good version of globalism. And the UN's failures is not because of these conspiracy theories. UN's failures is because it doesn't have, is because of its members. UN is not really a thing other than a table for people to sit around and decide things. If there's a problem with the UN, it's because of the people sitting around those tables, because the UN itself is just a reflection of its members. So the table is not the issue, is the people sitting around those tables, is the people that are. So if you see an anti-Israeli bias in the UN, it's because there is an anti-Israeli bias in the world. And an anti-Israeli bias in the world makes leaders of countries to be have a bias against Israel, and that makes the UN to have a bias against Israel. So this is a reflection of the world. It's not inherently a UN problem, right? But when it comes to the UN itself, in fact, the whole point of UN is the opposite of what you're saying. The whole point of the UN, if there's one thing sacred in the UN, is basically the nationalism, is the national independence. Everything else in the UN is secondary. Human rights are secondary. The UN's main purpose is for each country to be independent and their border integrity to be respected, and for them to be able to not be meddled with. That's the point of the UN, is to defend the concept of a nation state. So basically the opposite of what you're saying. The anti-Israeli bias from the UN comes from the anti-Israeli bias in the world, and that's we need to fix the world. So the reason why you want to blame the UN, I think, because that makes it an easier problem to solve, because you think the world is okay, so we could just fix UN. But no, the problem is bigger than that, and because you have to fix the world now. So because the world, if you realize what's happening, the problem seems more challenging, and conspiracy theories try to simplify the problem. But we have to deal with the problems as they are, not with the way that we want them to be.
Go off, King. Hannah gave a super chat saying, are you aware the word transphobia nowadays is used in the same way the word Islamophobia is used to shut down legitimate criticism? Are we aware of this? Yes, we are, my friend. And I feel like we
Yes,
talk
yes.
about it. We don't, not as much because it doesn't come into the topics that we cover, at least on this show, that often. But yes, I agree.
You know
Uh,
that because people who have been trans rights activists all their lives have now been accused of transphobia because they're not going full cuckoo.
Yeah.
So this is where we are at right now. Trans rights activists are called transphobic because they're not going full woke.
Yeah. Because they have other ideas. They refuse to be part of the monolith. And they are some of my like heroes, like people like Buck Angel. I like incredible. I'm a big fan of Buck Angel. And people are going to cancel me for that. So be it.
Yeah.
John Bundock gave a super chat saying, not to divert, but what are y'all's thoughts on Hegel? I'm going to divert to or toss over to Armin because it has been a long time since I studied Hegel, and I don't remember that much specifically. God, I'm getting old because that was so long ago. I just remember that I was like, I hate reading his writing. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, this is slightly better than Kierkegaard.
Well, I don't know. The best way to understand Hegel is not to go to read what he's writing, because he writes in a way that it's even hard for even some philosophers to understand. It's better to take a course on him. But anyways, like asking what your thoughts on Hegel is actually very like this is a guy, one of the few philosophers that has a full systematic approach to trying to explain everything. So it depends on what specifically you're talking about. Like I could just, because your thoughts on Hegel cannot be summarized in a couple of sentences, right? I could just tell you one thing that I like about him is that he considers, one thing I learned from Hegel that I like is that philosophers are not the people who actually make the direction of, they're basically come after the direction is set by society, right? They are not the ones who are making society move in different directions. They are just a product of their time, right? So one of the famous things that he says is that, I think he exaggerates, but I like thinking about it sometimes, is that what is actual is factual, and what is factual is what is actual is factual, and what is factual is actual. So basically what you're seeing is happening is the most rational thing that could happen. Like there is no other way. This is like, if you're like, oh, society should be this or that, it's what you're seeing is how things are supposed to happen. But what is fact, what is rational basically is what actually is happening, right? Basically that's what he's saying. So basically he's when you read other philosophers with that perspective, or historians, or even enlightenment thinkers, that you might think like, oh, John Locke changed everything. Did he change everything, or was his ideas the natural ideas from a philosopher you would get from his time? Like if you remove John Locke, would you have another John Locke coming up with similar ideas anyways, because that was the most demanding, that was the demand for those ideas were the heaviest at that time? If you read for example Hobbes's life and the environment that he was in, you could see why he would have those ideas. If you read John Locke, if you read Rousseau, you could be like, oh, I could see why he would have those views in that time. So it seems like they are not the trend makers, they are part of the trend, right? So, and again, reading that and also other philosophers made me realize how much the wisdom of the crowd is more than the wisdom of individuals. So just like in the markets, in the where Marxism is wrong, that a few individuals cannot set the market in the way that would be the most productive. I think when it comes to politics, it's the same thing. It's basically the same thing, which is weird because one thing that you could hate Hegel for is that Marxism came from Hegelian entities. So what Marx hated from Hegel was that he believed that he's right, that the history comes in phases, but he didn't like the spiritual nature, because Hegel considered history to be basically God, right? The spirit of God is history, and God is an evolving thing, right? So it basically goes through phases. There's tensions between different elements of society, and it's kind of like a pendulum, and it basically rests in a place, and then we go to the next tension, and we go through these phases. And he thought there's a spiritual thing, and God is the spiritual thing, that you could see it through history, and history and God basically kind of are interchangeable from Hegel. But basically Marx saw that, and he liked it, and he removed God from it, and he made a materialist version of that, and that's how you get Marxism. There's also a young version of Hegel and an older version of Hegel. The younger version of Hegel was more, his philosophy was more rebellious. The older one was much less rebellious, which also shows that you're not just a product of your time, you're also your product of your age. Younger people tend to be more rebellious, older people are less rebellious. And Marx hated the older Hegel. He loved the earlier version of Hegel. So again, I'm going into so much that those are, I mean, we could talk about this for hours, but I don't want to get into that.
Yeah. Little Cat Feet sent 15 Australian dollars with no comment. Thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat. Asian American is saying, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Humans are caught between biological evolution and mimetic evolution. I can't help but feel platonic ideal human is a hive mind hive network photo radio synthetic neurons on petri dishes orbiting a Dyson swarm. I see what you mean.
That's a theory.
And I think it's really interesting to consider how much we live for the sake of our memes.
Oh. Can I share this with people regarding
yeah.
Guys, go if you
Sorry.
Yes. So if you want to see how backward the ultra-Orthodox Jewish beliefs are about women, about personal freedom, okay? And this is in New York. Okay, if you watch this documentary, I think a lot of you are going to be shocked about how backward the society could be. You wouldn't believe you're in New York. Just like that part of Tel Aviv, you can't believe that this is in Tel Aviv. This part of New York, you can't believe that this is actually in New York. So this documentary on Netflix is a really good watch. It's called One of Us. Go check it out. And you could also see how many Jewish people are trying to fight back against this, right?
Challenge
so there's
it,
so many,
leave it, rebuild their lives.
Exactly.
And you actually were friends with one of the guys featured in that documentary. Is his name Ari or Avi?
No, I forgot. I think now that you asked,
Ari, right?
Ari, yes, Ari.
I remember when I watched that
second name.
documentary, yes. I felt so sympathetic towards him.
Yes.
What a sweet kid.
Yeah, Ari.
Wow, we have a lot of former Ultra-Orthodox, Hasidic, Haredi people in our chat right now. I didn't realize there were so many that were part of our community. Then this covering the story brought them out. Like Sarah is saying that she's friends with one of the people in that film and then left that community.
Guys, see, this is so important to watch. It's very important for you to watch this then. One of Us on Netflix.
And did we just get a new super chat? Susanna, yes. Parentheses, Susanna.
Wait,
just gave us up. I can't remember what currency this is, but thank you for the super chat, Susanna.
Why is there Susanna parentheses? I want to know. I'm so curious. They're the same Susannas.
Okay. Okay, so let's go to the next story, and we cannot clap for this story, but it's important that we cover this.
Okay, well, not clapping then. Next news.
Oops. Next news. Honor killing attempt. Parents attack teen daughter at U.S. high school. In a disturbing incident highlighting the underreported issue of honor based culture in the United States, a Washington state couple was arrested for allegedly attempting to kill their 17-year-old daughter outside Timberline High School in Lacey after she refused an arranged marriage with an older man abroad in Iraq. Ihsan and Zahra Ali faced charges of attempted murder, assault, and attempted kidnapping after witnesses, including bystander Josh Wagner, intervened to stop the attack. Wagner, who originally thought he was breaking up a fight between students, recalled the horrific scene. Quote, "The dad was on his back and his daughter was on top of him, and he had her in a chokehold." According to police reports, the teenager had fled her home after her father threatened her with an honor killing, seeking refuge at her school, where the violent confrontation ultimately occurred. The incident culminated in a school lockdown after the terrified girl ran into the main office screaming that her father was trying to kill her, leading the school officials to secure her in a safe location while authorities investigate the case, which has sent shockwaves through the local community. So this is wild. And so, oh my gosh, there's so much to cover here. Let me go through the facts. Actually, Armin, did you download that video I put in the show notes?
Oh, yes, I did. I think
Okay.
I did.
If you have that ready, we can go ahead and pull that up. But in the meantime, I will talk about what we know so far. So there's a lot about this case. This happened very recently that is not public, and it's because of laws around child welfare, issues, and also this girl is a minor, her identity is protected, and so forth. So, based on the interviews that I have seen from local media, interviewing people who are there, I'll go through the facts as I understand them. So, it seems to me that this is the part that's the least clear to me, that this girl ran away to her school at some point one day because she said her family was threatening to kill her. And apparently she alerted school officials potentially, and then for one reason or another, she ended up being at a bus stop in front of the school. So let me be clear to you guys. This happened in public. This assault, attempted murder happened in public, like right outside of the public school property. So she was waiting at this bus stop in near the school. And she was there with her boyfriend and a bunch of other kids. And then all of a sudden, her mom and dad pull up in a car or something, or they find her at this bus stop and just start assaulting her right at this bus stop. And they get her in a chokehold. They are shoving her face in the dirt. She's screaming. They're screaming at her in Arabic. There's another student there who apparently speaks Arabic who says something back to them in English along the lines of like, she's not going with you. You can't take her. She's not going to go with you, blah, blah, blah. And then the dad gets her in a chokehold and is suffocating her as he's like pulling her back. Witnesses say that her eyes her arms start flailing, her eyes roll into the back of her head. She's rendered unconscious at some point. Meanwhile, guys, remember, this is happening in front of the school. So at the bus stop, it's a bunch of teenagers trying to, and then the mom is also in the mix, trying to choke her as well. So a bunch of teenagers are there, and they, as soon as they see her start to go unconscious, they jump in and start to try to rip this grown man off of this girl, including the girl's boyfriend. Like, this girl's boyfriend had to watch like the person that he cares about like go through this. And he jumps in and tries to defend her. And then in some form or another, the dad punches that kid in the face. He goes reeling back onto the concrete. And meanwhile, there's this other random dude just driving by in his car with his family. And he pulls over and he thinks that he's seen like a bunch of teenagers fighting or whatever. So he goes in to break it up. Just some random bystander, good Samaritan, as we would say. And he just pulls up, is like, okay, I'm going to break up this fight between teens. And then he realizes that this is a grown man, like assaulting a teenage girl. And he goes in and like pulls him off of him, breaks him up. The girl and her boyfriend go running back into the school and they get to safety. The school goes into lockdown, intruder lockdown, and police get called, etc., etc. She is reporting to the authorities that this was an attempted honor killing, that she had been facing pressure from her family to be taken outside of the United States to be married to an older man who she's never met before, presumably, and that she was refusing. And that's what prompted this violence. And so she's been taken into a safe house or protective custody or what am I looking for? Maybe foster care. And, all the details are being protected because of confidentiality. And this case is being investigated and etc. But Armin, actually, now would be a good time to show the video because I want to really praise the people that stood up just out of nowhere, just absolute strangers that came in and protected her.
According to court records, a 17-year-old victim told investigators her father had been threatening her with an honor killing after she refused to go to another country for an arranged marriage to an older man. She went to her school for help, which then led to the confrontation outside.
The dad was on his back and his daughter was on top of him and he had her in a chokehold.
Josh Wagner was driving with his family near Timberline High School on October 18th when he noticed what he thought was a group of kids fighting. But as he jumped in to break up the fight, he realized it was a man choking a teenage girl.
It was pretty angering. I didn't know what was going on, why it was happening. All the kids were screaming, yelling.
Court records state Ihsan Ali was choking his 17-year-old daughter to the point where she had lost consciousness as other students and the girl's boyfriend tried to pull her away. According to court documents, the girl's mother, Zahra Ali, was also grabbing at the girl and choking her. Investigators say the girl's father also punched her boyfriend.
He proceeded to black out and, punch my son in the face.
Victor Barnes' son was one of the students trying to stop the confrontation and separate the girl from her parents. The girl eventually got away and ran into the school screaming, "My dad was trying to kill me," prompting a lockdown as staff blocked the girl's parents from getting to her. Barnes says the issues with the Alis have been going on for months, with one prior incident forcing them to get a temporary protection order against Zahra Ali. And court records state she was also banned from stepping onto school property.
This isn't right. And the more we continue to allow these type of actions to take place in a society where what the climate is what it is right now, post-election, there's just no place for that type of activity nowhere.
And we reached out to DCYF to see if they are investigating this case, but we were told that child welfare records are confidential. Court records, though, do state that the victim's school helped connect her with a safe place to stay. Reporting live in Lacey tonight, Lynn Wynn, KOMO News.
So that was really interesting for me to watch as I was going through local media. Wait, there's one thing I want to pull up. So where is he?
The more...
Oops. So this guy right here, this man, his son is the girl's boyfriend that was assaulted by the father when he was doing this attack. And his family has been incredibly impacted in this. In another interview that they were watching, he was saying like, you know, high school is supposed to be like a really fun time of your life. It was one of the best times of my life. And like my son has experienced this like intense trauma because of what they put him through. Like, this is unacceptable. I don't know exactly what was going on behind the scenes, but it seems that this girl's family was harassing this man's family because his son was in a relationship with their daughter. Like, it's not exactly clear what the details are, but he talks about how they had to file a restraining order against the mom that ended up doing this attack. And then the mom had been banned from school property. So they've clearly had a pattern of behavior that authorities and other people had said were unacceptable. Like, he basically said that the mom would like show up at their house sometimes and be interrogating them about like where their daughter is or if she's with them and stuff. Like, the details aren't entirely clear, but it almost seems like she was asking like, are they staying with you? Do you have my daughter and all this stuff? And it really, in a different interview that this man gave, he talks about like there's actually videos of this attack, and I don't really want to show it because that video is all over the internet. I'm really cognizant of the fact that this victim could maybe watch this one day, and I don't think we need to watch the specific attack to know that this is horrible. And he's showing the video to the news station, and he's going, look, that's my son. That's my son. And I don't know. I just want to like commend this kid and this father for standing up in this scenario. You know, I don't know how I would feel as a father to have your child go through this, but also like the feeling of your son standing up to defend someone that they care about as a child still themselves in such an extreme scenario. I think I would probably feel a real sense of pride in a way. So I kind of wanted to really, you know, shout out to him, his family, what they've gone through as the fallout because of this, and also the bystander, the guy earlier, Mr. Wagner, who interfered to prevent this from happening. I think it speaks to our community. I mean, this is important to me because this happened in Washington State. I'm a born and raised Washingtonian. Okay, so it's crazy to hear about this like happening, you know, not far away from where I grew up. And it also left a real impression on me to see the reaction. So I went to go poke through local media, you know, how is my community reacting to this? And everyone is like shocked, appalled. They find this completely unacceptable. They want the book to be freaking thrown at these parents. There are people like they should be tried for international sex trafficking. Like the outrage. There's one thing I appreciated is that there's no quibbling. No quibbling, no like, oh, maybe this, maybe this. No, everyone's like this. No, we don't stand for this. We reject this. We don't want this. Like, you cannot bring this here. That was the reaction that I was seeing from my community, and that brought a sense of I don't know, reassurance or to me. Yeah. That was just a little personal flavor, I guess. It's very serious. Honor violence is very serious.
Right. So 2 points. Before I make my points, I just want to take this opportunity to ban somebody from the live chat. Okay. And I want people to tell Susanna, because this Leslie, I want her to rage because she's raging in the live chat and I'm enjoying her losing her mind. So Leslie's saying, you are rubbish, Susanna. And I'm going to say, Leslie, you are banned, Leslie, because this is something I don't tolerate. If you want to be a garbage person as towards Susanna, I do not tolerate that on this channel. And I want people, because I know Leslie will still see this, even though I banned her. I want you guys to tell Susanna how amazing she is. So just because Susie, first of all, deserves that, 1. 2, I want Leslie to see that and rage some more. Anyway, so there's that. So, and also I'm going to speculate something about this news that you just mentioned, about this, okay? And I'm not sure if this is true. You said they're Iraqi, right? From Iraq.
I believe some of the details, that's what I believe is true.
So maybe you mentioned something because I was paying attention to the live chat. Maybe I didn't notice it. But if you haven't noticed, if you didn't say this, I'm going to say it. And this is pure speculation. But I will bet money on this. Okay? And here's my speculation. I will bet that one of the main reasons why they were outraged, you're saying this is the father of the boy that was dating the girl? Yes? You know what I'm going to say, don't you? You know what I'm going to say. I would bet as much money as I could that the reason why these people were so butthurt is because their girl was having sex with a black boy.
Okay, wait, Armin, that's not fair. We have no idea if they were sexually involved. They were romantic.
Well, whatever.
Involved.
Romantic, sexual, whatever. Okay, the fact that their baby girl was next to a in a relationship with a black boy, I would speculate that that's 90% source of their rage and anger, and this is why this was such a sensitive thing for them. I don't know. Do you guys agree with me or not? Like, I mean, I'm so close to certain that this was one of the main reasons.
Look, it's uncomfortable to say. But I'm not disingenuous to say that I thought the same thing.
You did it? Yeah. Okay.
I thought the same thing.
Honor killings, sometimes it's not, it happens when you get so angry. And I I come from the Middle East, okay? And I know when your baby girl is in a relationship with a black man or a black boy, I know the type of things that go through, the rage, the feelings that is going through some of these people's minds, okay? And it's, again, some people are saying, I mean, don't be racist. This is a culture. I'm talking about a culture. I'm not talking about ethnically these people being like that. Okay, so don't accuse me. Yeah, so a lot of people are agreeing with me. Also, I want to train people, because some people will tell you like honor killing is not Islamic. And I wanted you to, in this channel, we have said this many times, I want you guys to know why honor killings can be blamed on Islam. Because if somebody comes here and tries to defend Islam, this is what they will tell you. And they are right. So you need to know what the comeback is. They will tell you that this is in violation of Sharia. Islam doesn't allow you to kill your daughter. In fact, killing your daughter is both a crime that you'll be punished for in this world in Islam, and you will be punished for it in the afterlife for murder. So you Islamophobic idiots who you're saying like, oh, honor killing, oh, Islam is so bad, you don't understand that Islam prohibits this, because you're just Islamophobic and you just want to blame everything on Islam. So this is what you should say back to them, okay? The reason why we blame this on Islam, because the shit that Islam is responsible for, sometimes it's directly. Sometimes it comes from the scripture. You can see like, this is the behavior, this is the scripture, and they match. And it's like, okay, I can see where this comes from. But usually when religion poisons things, it's not, the relationship is not this one-to-one. It's not as, the effect of nonsense on people's behavior is usually more complicated, that here's the scripture and people follow it. Scripture and religious beliefs create environments where problematic behavior are more likely to happen, even if the relationship is not one-to-one. For example, Islam normalizes treating women by beating them. Okay, like beating women is allowed in Islam, making women bodies and using physical punishment a method that is normalized in the mind of the people who believe in it, right? 2, not abiding by, not giving in to the demands of who you're having sex with is also punishable with beating and also cursed by angels. So basically, your society or your husband telling you who you're supposed to be with and having sex with, like being available for sex based on what is demanded of you, that is also normalized, right? The punishments that is for that Islam prescribes for killing your own children is less than killing other people, especially if it's your daughter, right? So even if they say that this is punishable, because the punishment is low, because it was your own child, especially if it was your own daughter, the punishment sometimes is so low that the family considers it to be a price that you could pay. Also, Islam teaches you that other than shirk, every sin is forgivable. So yes, maybe I'm sinning, but if I repent, I could get around that. Like basically, God will eventually forgive all sins if you really mean it. Also, even though honor killing doesn't come directly from scripture, honor culture comes directly from scripture. The idea that this is dirty to be with the wrong people, that you're bringing shame, that women having sex with people before marriage are bringing shame to themselves and to their tribe or to their family, and they're used goods if they're treating women like products, that if they have sex before marriage, this is something that is worthy of punishment. Normalizing these ideas, this is honor culture, and just honor culture. Eventually, if you see honor killings happen in societies where they have honor culture. So if you say honor killing is not, something that Islam advocates for, well, honor culture is something that Islam advocates for, and honor culture is what leads to honor killing. So these are the things that you have to remember. Not everything that Islam ruins is directly mentioned in the scripture that this is how you ruin things, but Islam ruins them anyways. It's not always direct and one-to-one.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not exclusive. Let me be extremely clear. It is very obviously not exclusive to Islam. I think that's important to understand. So, like, here's a working definition that I used that I had to write about recently, saying honor-based domestic violence encompasses a broad range of violent and abusive behaviors aimed at controlling or punishing an individual to protect or restore a family's honor. This can include physical assaults, forced marriage, emotional and psychological abuse, confinement or restriction of movement, and threats of violence. Honor-based violence is characterized by the intent to uphold traditional and patriarchal values related to family honor and gender roles, and it is often supported or enforced by community norms. Key characteristics of honor-based violence include the involvement of family members as perpetrators, often including parents, spouses, siblings, or extended relatives. So, and a lot of this has to do with fears of Westernization in this context. So there were some people asking like, oh, I wonder if they would have reacted this way if the boyfriend wasn't black, if he was white, or if he was Arab, or blah, blah, blah. My extremely non-professional opinion and speculative opinion is that this is, broadly speaking, based on the patterns that we see across different places in the world about Westernization more broadly. That's what I would have, and that's why oftentimes different communities will send their children back to their home country to make the kids less Westernized. We see a lot of instances of this. If the kid is gay, if the kid is trans, they send them back because they're getting too Westernized now. So it's not even exclusively just about romantic relationships, or the forced marriage is an element of trying to exert control to prevent the Westernization. quote unquote, because it's again about the enforcement of certain community norms. Yeah. And
anyways, we're running out of time for the
oh my
last
God,
news,
you're
but
right.
you're right.
Yeah.
I want
Look
to
at our ways this
quickly say that. Yes, I just quickly want to say that, by the way, you're right. It's not exclusive to Islam, but the vast majority of honor killings are in Muslim communities, like by a huge margin to the second one. So just Islam must be the main reason, given that all over the world, honor killings mostly happen with Muslim communities, even though with different cultures, different geographies, different backgrounds. Islam seems to be the uniting factor, and I know it happens in other societies as well, by a huge margin. It's mostly Muslim communities, so Islam must be the factor.
I don't know if I completely agree, because we have very little data about this, but a hugely disproportionate amount does come from Pakistan, so I'll give you that, based on pretty old data at this point. Okay, so let's go to the next story.
Oh wait, I forgot. We did you remove the super chat? There was a super chat. Okay.
No.
Let me just read, because there was a yes. Oh no. Okay, no. There was this highlight. I just want to quickly respond to this, saying, as usual, Armin bans people for having a different opinion and then complains about freedom of speech. You idiot! Freedom of speech, it does not mean that you do not get banned from social media. Freedom of speech means that the government doesn't come after you. The government doesn't ban you. The government doesn't imprison you. The government doesn't fine you. We are not the fucking government, you moron. Okay? And also, I didn't ban that person for having a different opinion. The person was personally attacking Susanna. That's why I removed them. Okay, anyways. Sorry. I know we need to move on. Sorry. Okay.
No, it's okay.
Let's do the next news fast, because I know we want to talk about another thing as well. Okay, so next news.
This is going to be interesting. Okay, so Mufti Armin, get your listening ears on, because I need your ruling. Okay. Pakistan's top cleric declares VPNs un-Islamic amid the push for a ban. Okay. This was brought to my attention by our Pakistani community. Maybe they can give us more insight. In a controversial move highlighting the intersection of technology, religion, and state control in Pakistan, the country's leading Islamic body has declared virtual private networks, or VPNs, to be un-Islamic, supporting the government's push to ban these digital privacy tools. The Council of Islamic Ideologies chairman, Raghib Naimi, justified the stance by claiming Sharia law permits the governments to prevent the spread of evil. Well, Pakistan's Ministry of Interior argues that VPNs are increasingly being exploited by terrorists to facilitate violent activities. This religious proclamation comes amid a sensitive time, as millions of Pakistanis have relied on VPNs to access social media platforms like X, formerly Twitter, since it was blocked in February of 2023, particularly supporters of the imprisoned former Prime Minister Imran Khan. The move has sparked concerns about digital rights and freedoms of expression in Pakistan, where authorities are now requiring users to register their VPNs with the media regulator, effectively enabling increased surveillance of internet activity in a country already known for strict online controls. So this is very interesting, because my impression from the reading I was doing is that the government has this very specific incentive for doing this. And basically it's because of rising rates of terrorism. I mean, they've been dealing with issues with, the rise of the Taliban again, but also I think their own desire for control, especially amidst all the ongoing drama with Imran Khan and the vast swaths of the population that support him and are wanting to demonstrate against what's happened to him and all this stuff. So I think the state has a very specific interest in this. And then they went to the Council on Islamic Ideology, which is supposed to basically give recommendations or opinions to the government about if things are Islamic enough. And they went ahead and said that VPNs are un-Islamic. They had a fatwa that it's un-Islamic. And their opinion was predictably often about spreading a corruption, blasphemy, adult video content, shall I say. So they had a very specific, their own agenda. But Mufti Armin, based on your understanding of the rulings in scriptures, please tell us, are VPNs genuinely un-Islamic? Please.
So I think this guy is wrong. He's full of shit. As a mufti, I would say it depends on the situation, and the situation doesn't require you a mufti. Here's how simple the situation is. Depends on what you're using the VPN for. If you're living in an Islamic country where they have banned porn and they have made it porn unaccessible or other un-Islamic haram content, and you're using VPN to access that, then the use of VPN is wrong, not because of the VPN itself, but because of the content that you're using to access it. However, if you're living in another country, for example, let's say you live in China, and Islamic content are banned, and you're using VPN to access Islamic content, right? So in that situation, in fact, the use of VPN is not only halal, but it's also, there's savab in it. You get brownie points for using it. And again, so the tool is not the issue, is the purpose you're using it for. So this, you don't even need a fatwa for this or any declaration, because as a Muslim, you understand that you shouldn't be doing haram things. So if you're using the VPN to do haram things, the things that Islam has already declared haram, then you should, then the use of the VPN here is wrong. But if you're using VPN to access Islamic things, and maybe, or using VPN to spread Islamic knowledge or invite people to Islam, then in fact you're doing a good deed. So again, it doesn't, the tool, do not make that tool haram. Make the purpose of the, see what the purpose of the action is, and then you could judge yourself whether what that is haram or not. So that would be my declaration. I think this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well, thank you for your ruling. I mean, the wisdom is abounding.
Yeah, Kenny approves. I would make a good mufti.
Yeah, Wicker, who's Pakistani, is saying, "Ugh, if they ban it, I guess I won't have to be here then, or won't be able to be here." I mean, obviously, and I think it's very sweet how many people in our live chat and community are concerned about the safety of our Pakistani members. If we have a very firm and active community inside the Islamic Republic of Iran, I'm sure you guys can find a way to still come join our community. There's definitely a lot of ways to get around this. If you guys need some tips, go talk to some Iranians, because they can work their way around some internet blockades. Yeah, but I'm not going to encourage people to do anything that would genuinely endanger their safety. But I think you guys can get around this. You can safely. What do you think, Armin?
Declaring it haram, does that mean? I mean, he's not the lawmaker. He's just declared haram. He's just relying on you not doing it. Is the law against the VPN as well, or is this guy just calling it a sin?
So there's an ongoing push for the ban. Okay. I'm not exactly sure if it is implemented so far, but there is the push to require people to register their VPNs. Also, this has the idea of a blanket ban for this kind of thing is so stupid. Like, this would have really poor effects on the economy at large. There's tons of ways to, I used to work at a medical school, and we were doing research with databases funded by the federal government. It was required by me to use a VPN for the sake of our data security and the sensitivity of what I was working with. This is part of human subjects research and protections, identity stuff. There's so in that, and that's just one area. I'm thinking about all the tech area, financial security areas, research, medicine. Well, I guess they don't have HIPAA protections. It wouldn't be called that, but medical confidentiality. You can't just have a blanket ban on these kinds of things. It's really important in this day and age.
Anyways, we need to move on because you have another announcement to make. So
yes. Also, I should clarify, I'm not a medic. I just worked as a research assistant at a medical school. That's very different. I'm not qualified.
This is why
Okay.
this is why Susie is so good at research. When she goes and finds the news because she has experience.
It was my job. I completely blanked. I was about to say something. Oh, when people were, I just want to say, when people were giving me praise in the live chat, that was very sweet and I appreciate it. And my favorite one was just someone saying, I get the impression that Susie is a decent person. Like a ringing endorsement.
Yes.
Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to talk about today is important for our organization. So basically, let me pull this up. We are approaching the end. Whoops. Oh my God, I messed it up. Can you make us a little bit bigger? How do you do that, Armin? Thank you. We are approaching the end of the year. So it's the end of year fundraising season. This is really important for nonprofits like Atheist Republic to sustain our programming, keep our engine running, keep the lights on, so to speak. And so we have started a new fundraising campaign for Giving Tuesday, and then we're actually going to run this through the rest of the year. And I would really love it if people would be able to, just give what they can to support our work. We have a big team. It's a lot bigger than me and Armin. I say this all the time. We run a lot of different programs. We have one of the most influential atheist programs in Persian, huge, vibrant community. Armin is doing such important work over there, really promoting values and morals and standards that we fight for, that we love, that we value within Iran itself. And we are successful at what we do we have already had over, let me double check. We've already had over 1 million views across our different platforms just in this year alone. And we want to bolster our influence. We want to bolster the spread of the ideas and the values and the compassion and the rationalism that we try to promote. And to do that, we need support. And what I love about this community is not only is this full of people that are genuinely my friends that I talk to, that help me through hard times, and I help them through hard times. Help people escape dangerous situations across different countries when necessary. Help people with asylum cases where we can. There's so much that we do. And what I love about our community at large is that they see this as something that is important to them and that they buy into. They care about the status of free thinking, non-believing people around the world. They care about the people that are persecuted for speaking out, for saying things that are unpopular but true, and for speaking out against dogma and hatred and bigotry. This is really what we stand for here. And I appreciate that that's part of the identity of like the people that are really part of our community. If this is something that speaks to you, if this is something you love, if you appreciate, or maybe you just like to come here every week and watch Armin do his live streams, or maybe when I join the show and do my live streams and run my mouth, and maybe it just brings you entertainment, please consider giving a donation to Atheist Republic. Literally every small amount counts. And we really, really appreciate, everything that people give to our community, including the people that give their time and volunteer for us, which is one of the most valuable things that people do. So I put the link in the live chat. I should also put this in the description. I'll put this in the top of the description when this stream ends.
I will also put it in the top comment, pin it in the top comment as well.
Yeah. And thank you to the people who all have already given. It's really impactful. And to the people who are already members and on Patreon and give on PayPal, etc. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about.
And also this is what she's talking about. The shows that we do on our Persian channel, the Jamhuriya Bi Khodayan. This channel is growing very fast. And we're building a huge community. We also built a Atheist Republic Persian community on Discord, which is very active. So Jumhuriye Bi Khodayan just means Atheist Republic in Persian. And a lot of people, most of our audience is from Iran. Because 80% is from Iran. We did a poll.
Yeah. And you know, I think we do a good job at being extremely efficient with the funds that we have. We have had like a record impact this year with the views and the impressions we're getting across platforms. And Armin and I have so many ideas about how we want to take it even further and provide even more value to our members and the people that care about these issues. We're just constrained by resources. And I know that, you know, if we have more, we could take it so far. So yeah, thank you to everyone. Cat Lady is so sweet.
Okay. Yes. So is this person. Okay, can I know I'm gonna ruin all the sweetness with this one, but I'm gonna highlight Ready Meal saying, liberal my ass. You just hate Islam. Well, we hate Islam because we're liberals. Anyways.
It's actually
Anyways,
fully
guys,
consistent. It's actually fully
it's very-
consistent.
It's very consistent. It's completely in line. All right, guys, we gotta go. Thank you so much for everybody. Thank you for everybody for anybody who considers clicking on that link and donating. However, just remember that if you are financially struggling, do not donate to us or anyone else. Do not support anyone financially. If you are in a financially, you know, even remotely struggling, do not donate to anybody. Take care of yourself before you take care of other people. It's very important that you have that principle. Okay. However, if you are not in a position that you can help anybody financially, I have good news. There is this thing called the like button that doesn't cost you a cent. It helps this channel grow and it doesn't cost you money. So click it and leave a comment after the show is over. And also subscribe and hit the bell notification and recommend this channel. All of these things are free. Doesn't cost you anything. Okay, so please do that. Anyways, thank you, everyone, and stay liberal.
I had
Bye.
a lot of fun today.
Me too. Okay. Bye, guys.